Let's go. We are back. Reality After Show talking Australian Survivor, Heroes vs. Villains, episodes 1 through 3. I'm Dan Montchal. I'm here as always with Alex Trias, stand-up comedian Wayne Memmott, and of course, our lovely guest, one of our favorites, Chrissy, runner-up on last season Blood vs. Water.
Hello.
What is going on, everyone?
What's up? Oh my god, so glad we did the cast stuff, and I'm so pumped to be here. And like now we're like watching the show, and it's not slow. It's not a slow show.
No, I was so happy to not be on the cast assessment, just getting to listen to all of you guys. Because my least favorite thing is doing the cast assessment cold with nothing. So yeah. I was so interested in hearing your takes. And I feel for the most part, you guys have been bang on the money.
Well, Alex, I feel like it's only fair the rest of us, the cast assessment, we had to dole out a winner pick. I think we need one from you.
The winner pick is all the ball jokes that JLP makes throughout the season.
There's so many.
All right. So we're getting Sorry, go ahead.
Wait, but Alex, do you have a winner pick? Did you have one going in?
Well, I was like talking with a lot of my friends about it, and I was thinking, like, George is like too obvious, Haley's too obvious, and like the main people I was like coming down to was Simon and Shawnee heading into this. I'm feeling good about one of those. Yeah. The other one, I'm feeling probably as well as Jordy was feeling it. You know?
He's just like a more seasoned Michael. All right.
And so then before we get into episode 1, Heroes vs. Villains, it's a big theme. We have, on the US side, it's arguably the greatest season that we've ever had. So kind of what are you guys feeling going into it? And then Chrissy, I mean, a lot of these people and you're just coming off playing. Like, what did you think with the people that are coming back that what are your thoughts like before the season even started?
Oh, I was just so nervous. Like, I was so nervous for the ones that were going on because we have a very different outlook and feel for it compared to you guys. We don't know what the edit's going to be. Are they going to, do all this good stuff or all the shit stuff? So I was just freaking out for the ones who I love, because there's lots of players in this season who are very dear to me. So yeah, the nerves were crazy. I watched the premiere with a few ex-players down with Simon. So in Brisbane, that was chaos and so good just to be there with them and to, show the love. But we have got a serious season on our hands here, people. Everyone need to buckle up.
I'll say, like, especially with just when we go through the 3 episodes, I think the big difference I've seen between this and probably and last season, I felt last season had a lot more of a serious tone to it throughout it. Whereas this one, there's a lot more comedy. There's a lot more like levity, and maybe it's just the casting choices. Like, you have just
big personalities.
Yeah, big personalities. You have Simon who thinks he found an idol. You have Stevie thinking he's a puppet master.
Dude, Stevie's my new pick. I love Stevie. Can you get Stevie on the podcast?
Do you have your triangle up? Are you visioning it?
Dude, every day I put my triangles up.
How cute, Stevie, the little underdog.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, Stevie's the best. His edit is my top moment of the 3 episodes so far. His introduction edit was my favorite. Just like the way they painted him as like some like super villain that's been like plotting to get back on to take out Shawnee, my winner pick. Like, I'm like, oh.
Wayne, after we talked the other day, it's literally in my notes when it gets to Stevie's intro. It's Q Wayne. Like, so it starts out. We get the introduction from a lot of the players. We have Sean, Haley, Rogue, which that's an interesting one. Sam, more about mateship. Nina, Flick, and then I know one of our personal ones on the hero side, Jerry. So we hear from him, and then on the villain side, we have Jordy. My only notes on that, he said got nicknamed the Joker. I was like, you gave yourself that nickname. No one else did.
Hey, it's your nickname now. He's barely used it.
He has I love that he hasn't.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, we have the comments from Shawnee that she's back, 3-time player because inflation's a bitch. Like, you know, there's,
I think the exact words were "suck it." Like,
yeah. So Frasier, Angeli, George, Sarah, like we get a lot of stuff from pretty much half the cast. Was there one from the beginning that stuck out to any of you that were just like, ooh?
I feel like it's more so who do you like as they were coming in, you're just like, I don't remember them really getting a pitch. And like we get his intro, but it was like Frasier to me just looks like for the US people, he just reminds me of Leaf from One World. Like that type of significance to show like he's there, he's the small one. I don't know how he came in there with like -% body fat, but like this dude's gonna be starving by day 12. Like
dude, but his tattoos. His tattoos.
They don't match him. It's so
no, they don't. I was gonna say, I think he stole them from somebody bigger than him. Like, like he saw someone's snake that was like nice on their bicep. And he's like, I want that, and now it goes from his shoulder all the way down to his wrist.
Well, I have for Frasier. I said, oh, it's the one that Chrissy called small and cute when we were doing the cast. Like, oh, who's that like cute little boy?
I think
you put him in your pocket.
And he acts 8. He's still very little and very small in the show so far.
Yeah, timid. I'm hoping he finds his footing.
It's going to be hard for him to find his footing alongside a lot of them because you have big voices in there. These guys know how to play. They know a confessional TV time. You know, they know the right thing to say. They know when the cameras are on. So these newbies need to, if they don't want to be purpled, they got to start talking a bit more. I reckon.
And it's like you can very clear because the 3 episodes, it's like 95% the villains just because they're constantly losing.
Yep.
You can see who the pushers and the shakers are and who are the people that are like, I'm here to just ride the wave, just tell me where to go. And Frasier's I'm going to ride the wave, just tell me where to vote type of person. Yep. And unfortunately, there's only 3 newbies left by the end of episode 3. So, and I think it's either him or Liz. That'll be the last newbie remaining of this villains group. And I would like to say Liz is the one that's going to stick it out because I'm a big fan of her for 3.
Look at that little friendship. Like she's made BFFs with the Queen. So, I'm worried for our little man.
Yeah. I think he's the next boot if villains go back to tribal.
Yeah.
Or Stevie.
I think Sneaky Stevie.
We can say Stevie. He's already lasted longer than he did his first season, so you know he's doing well.
And you know what? A lot of shade was on Stevie because of how Memmott sort of spoke to him and treated him, and a lot of the other guys sort of you saw the other guys hearing and seeing. Then they instantly turned on Memmott, so they're gonna be remembering how Stevie might have felt. You know, he might be protected for a little while.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Possible.
He could go tomorrow night.
No, I think Stevie could be around. I think he's just gonna be like not the vote that needs to go every time. You know, he's kind of from American Survivor. He's gonna be like Gabler his first bunch of episodes, where they're like, there's just somebody they wanted to get out just a little bit more than Gabler. Yeah, and then he ends up winning.
Please no.
That's the last time I'll bring him up. I promise.
I will not do that winner's interview if that happens.
So we get through this big intro, and then of course the spotlight on no one other than George. You know, he's George 2.0. He has the idol that's tattooed on him. He's going back and forth with Haley right off the bat, and it's just George's spotlight just from the very beginning. And, you know, you get a few of these other, you know, introductions. I have Matt. There's another thing from Angeli. But then we're getting right into this first reward challenge right off the bat. And so it's you're collecting food, fishing equipment, anything that you need for camp.
How intense was that? How intense was the Simon, the Maddie, the Geordie? I wasn't ready. I didn't know they were going to be just like that.
It made me miss the marooning. That US Survivor used to do like so well because we had seasons like this where it was just like, hey, here's a truck full of stuff.
Yeah, go get it. Yeah.
Wow.
No holds barred. Yeah. And I was like I liked it a lot. I think that like Simon came in to like be aggressive. Like he came
we
to
had that chat. We're like, why is he a villain? This guy's so nice.
Yeah.
He's putting hits on, he's stealing food, pulling Sean down. Like he's ready to play. He's being casted perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, this starts right off the bat because I have it's Matt and Jordy that 10 seconds in are wrestling over fishing equipment.
Yeah.
That was
real
so intense. And here's a little bit of an insight. Oh, I happen to get in trouble. Anyway,
you're fine.
So Matty's the hook gets stuck in Matt's guts.
Oh.
They've got to leave it. Jordy's like, it's stuck. This is what, we've been told. It might be secondhand, but anyway, it's bleeding. So they're like, okay, chill, let's get the hook out. And then they just go back to hustling. Like the stuff you don't see is the good stuff. So it was on. It was on. These guys are ready.
One thing. Was anybody looking for idols? I'm surprised there wasn't anybody like just kind of gingerly looking for like clues and idols.
The way I see it is if they were, they didn't show it because it wasn't relevant. Like there wasn't something there, so they're not going to show it. Because I feel like all Survivor, they do a very good job of like doing the little flashing moment of like, oh, we're ransacking, and then there's that little advantage. Let's see if someone finds it.
100%. I just look straight for Georgie. I'm like, if he's looking for it, there's an idol there.
Yeah, and I was like George or Haley.
Yep. No,
that was the only thing I saw was you had Haley at one point. It looked like while she was picking something up, she looked behind it to see if anything was there. But that was the only little glimmer. But like sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it didn't get in the air, so I presumed that.
Yeah, but I mean, as it just, this challenge goes on, it just shows that if you forgot how much of a beast Sean is, here's a nice reminder.
I mean, that is such an advantage. I mean, listen, that is such an advantage. I know that eventually they figure out how to strategize around him being so big in their challenge, but having him on your tribe and Simon's the other strong guy on the other tribe. And it's like, no one else is really, I mean, Jordy's kind of close to Simon, I would imagine, but nobody else is like anywhere close. And even I think Sean could take on Simon and Jordy in most of the challenges. Yeah. So it's just like, it's such an advantage for this heroes tribe. And
well, it's what we predicted going in. Like you looked at both cats and you're like, okay, not only do they have Sean, but they also have like these three other, like they have another AFL legend. They have, like essentially the meat selection, as Benjamin calls them, like just like
the meat tray.
Yeah, the meat tray. But like you have four of them, and then you only have Simon and Jordy. Like Liz is strong; she's a pole vaulter, Olympian. Like so, you have good strength, but she's a lean muscle. It's like there's no one else that can really go toe to toe with the heavies on the heroes.
No,
besides Stevie.
They need a croc.
They need a big crocky.
I mean, they wouldn't bring Mark back right away, but
he's still too tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one thing that I will give Simon credit for, and maybe it's the rest of the Villains tribes. We see it throughout these few episodes, is you can tell that Simon's kind of chomping at the bit to like test it out, and they're always pulling him back, being like, I don't think you want that smoke. Like, dude, Sean will murder you.
Yeah, we'll put Stevie out there. Don't worry, guys. Like,
don't get busted this early.
Yeah, God.
He's a lot, like he's a big, sexy, tall, rugged, nice man, and then he's just doing stuff that he shouldn't be able to do. It's crazy.
No.
Crazy.
It's yeah.
It always surprises me because I haven't watched his season all the way through, but I always am surprised that he was a contender and not a champion, because you just look at him and he screams champion.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then you got George lifting Anjali.
You also have George going, well, why don't we just not tackle each other? It'd be a lot easier this way.
True, just be nice and we'll get through the course.
It's like, I'm not trying to get laid out here.
Why is he so good? He just, anything he says, I just die.
I found myself by episode 3, like, oh shoot, I have to write notes about somebody else other than George, because I was just writing about George the whole time.
I just feel like I want to start at 3 because it's so fresh.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
From here, we go back to the villains camp first, and they have their little circle that they go around. Immediately, I have Angeli, she's sharing way too much. She's really proud of what she's done. I don't think anyone else cares.
Yeah.
I think she was my first boot. I think I called her first boot.
You did.
You did
call it. And I was like, oh man, Wayne was right.
Dude, she's a news lady. I've been on the news so many times, and those people are the most annoying people in the world. Like there's no way.
No wonder they're the first 2 like real boots of the season between her and Michael.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Chrissy, do you know why? Because, we're going to it and we get to Simon, and, he talks about how he's a natural leader, and all he talks about is this vendetta against George. Like, did he remember his season properly? Because George really isn't the one that orchestrated him out. So do you have any idea why Simon's that gung-ho?
Look, I said this. I remember saying this to you guys, and I said it to someone else in another podcast. If that vengeance is too specific and he hones in on it too much, he'll go home. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be solely about that and this vendetta. But I don't think, now that I've seen 3Fs, I don't think it's I gotta get rid of George because he iced me. I think it is, if I don't stay with George, the king of Australian Survivor, I'm not going to get an edit. I'm not going to stand out. I'm not going to look as good as I can be. So I'm going to go toe to toe with him, and I like it. It.
That's exactly.
I'm a green-eyed monster for him, for Georgie, for Sean, for Haley, for Nina. I know that I've got my favourites, but for Sime, I got to say, I don't think it's George bullied me and wrecked mine. I've got 2 idols. I don't think it's that. I honestly don't, Dan. I think it is. I know what this guy's capable of in terms of being on TV. I'm coming with him because he's going to eat everyone alive if they don't not let him.
That's just by the time we get to episode 3, it's just when Jordy, the Joker, is your voice of reasoning. Maybe we've gone a little bit too far.
We're in trouble when the hyper, indecisive, untrustworthy Joker is the voice of reason. We're in trouble.
Yeah, well, because he's acting like this outside of the confessional. If this was straight confessional stuff, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But he's like, he's got the 3 people that he's supposed to trust be like, no, we're not doing that. That's stupid. Like multiple times, he's like, no, I have to do it. I have to do it. It's like, dude, put your Survivor resume away. That like your checklist, your resume, like that's what you're trying to do.
Don't let Johnny hear it. Don't let Johnny hear it. He's gonna come back and he's gonna be very annoyed by it.
Yeah, God. I mean, it's what George said to Mimi, where it's like you actually have to make it to.
You got to get there.
You got to get there. Like,
guys, I don't know shit. It cracks me up that I'm on this podcast, but one thing, it's hilarious to me that these guys are all like, I want to tick him off. No, just get there and get there with some friends, and then deal with it.
And that's what we have Shawnee here for. Like, and I think like what's not being said, but is being said there is like us veterans need to stick together. One, because Shawnee realizes the more veterans that are there, that's more insulation for herself. But 2, it's what makes the most sense. Like you want to have the most big names heading into a swap.
Yeah, I think if it was me, here we go. This could break the internet. I feel like when it comes time, for merge or even for tribe swap first, it's better to have more people that you've initially started with and at least someone that and then deal with it later. Like, I don't want to be there with who are the newbies. I don't want to be with the newbies. I need those people I know so they can maybe like me a bit more than the newbie.
Right. I agree.
That's exactly right. The newbies aren't going to add anything. I think Liz is kind of the one who's the newbie who's adding the most to the show.
Yeah.
And it's mostly through her connection with Shawnee, And I like Sarah a lot. I'm a big fan of Sarah. I think she's going to get outshone
She's good.
by everybody else, but
she's done enough to be one of the people that survives. And
Yeah.
we see also with this, like a sort of a hybrid approach of it by George, where George is like, I need my Cara. Like, I need that number one who's good. But how about I have two of them instead?
Yeah.
And so he gets Jackie on board. He gets Angelique on board. And, like, these are my two people. And I'm going to be able to have that control. We're starting to gain some traction. And then the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
yeah.
After that, we go over to the Hero Beach, and the first thing I have is it's Jerry. Just his shirt is phenomenal. The fact that it's, like Poppy, the man, the myth, the legend. I was like, I love this guy that
Isn't
much
he
more.
the best? He needs more. Don't you need more of him? He's not getting much yet.
Yeah.
He's not.
But that's not his fault entirely. It's because of you have building the shelter and then a couple intros.
And don't forget at the time. So when I watch it, I watch it with an edited eye. Like villains are losing. There's heaps of heat over there. There's tea over there. They're fun. Like poor old Jerry and all the others in the. They're just going to wait their time.
Right.
But I think it's like who gets that time when they are over there is like what's important. Like we see Benjamin. Benjamin gets one confessional, but I think it's an important confessional. So like I don't think he's someone who's in danger. Haley's thing is the winner's curse. I believe my prediction is she gets past that winner's curse. She survives a decent amount, at least in this early stage.
Paige has been getting a lot of their time as well.
He is. The farmer.
She reminds me. I forget who the dude is. He was the rancher on Brains vs. Brawn.
The big fella, woodchopper.
Yeah, the woodchopper.
They're friends.
That's like the same area, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was the accent. I was like, wait 1 second. Is she about to say like I'm his sister?
Yeah.
No, but he's helped her from what I can gather. They've chatted and stuff.
Yeah. So like we can go into this next beat, which is what I'm assuming you're going to, Dan, and it's like Haley's trying to see who could potentially be a crack, and through the magic of editing, we get, hey guys, I'm Rogue.
I mean, going from I've had a lion bite my ass, Sean, do you want me to circumcise you? And then whatever was going through her head when she said to Nina, like it's just
no, this is too much. This broke us because Sandra unleashed on Twitter and everyone was amazing. But we got it for, like, I was like this. Rewind. That did not
I paused.
21st century. Fucking rewind. And I think it's clever that it went on there because it needed to go on there because it showed Nina's composure and how classy this kid is and intelligent because she didn't bite. But what I did notice, because of course now I'm like this, I'm taking this chick out, I'm going for her, because I'm defensive of Nines. They're still hanging out. They're together walking. So maybe it wasn't as savage as it appeared, or I don't know.
I think it's also Nina knows the game. And like this is the issue with Survivor and how some like fans like treat Survivor because like the magic vetting. Like when Rogue is saying those comments to Nina, then they pan over to Haley. Like those are two completely timed, like two different times that are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like people are like, oh, why didn't Haley? Why didn't Flick? Why didn't someone stand up for Nina? Well, one, it's like the issue is it's a social game.
Yeah, but they probably did.
Yeah, they probably did. Like, but it was not shown. And it's like Nina is a good enough player, has been raised by a great player who knows like
don't need help.
She said this to me. You know what? I'm gonna just jot that down here. Put it in.
Well, it's the first day. It's right.
Yeah.
It's the first.
Too much. And so here's the thing. 4 hours, we get back to camp, and I don't even know if people want to hear about mine because it's so finished, but it's just a reference to this role.
Yeah. They want to hear it.
She came out hard. Brianna came out. She had big voice and lots of big stories and big accusations and big comments. No one wants it. It's too confronting. You're already stripped of everything. So it's all very pure and raw. you don't need psycho. And this rogue, like, she went with 4 things. If I was there, she wouldn't have.
I would have thrown the first challenge to get
Throw
her
the first
out.
challenge. We're going.
It's
absolutely.
well, I wouldn't have done that, but I would have had it on my note. Like, I don't care what other dynamics happen these next few days. I don't care what the power structure is. She's the person I need to go first. And it's funny that she has the question of like, I don't even see any of these other people's heroes. I think like I'm the only hero here. I'm like, girl, you're a villain that was casted as a hero. I don't know what you are smoking out on that island, but I think Wayne may want some.
Let's get it.
So, Chrissy, two of these people that are back, it's Nina, it's Jordy. They both started with you, and we're seeing the early days. What were your initial opinions with the two of them, like your first few days on the beach?
Oh, just Nina, she's so captivating. You know, like Josh and I just gravitated towards her straight away because she had this accent, this skin. She was braiding everyone's hair. She was telling stories that we've never heard of. You know, like we were so captivated by her, and she was so intelligent, and she's Oprah's daughter. You know, like this is a big deal, this kid, and she was sort of fun. But then she was really good at challenges and she was really good strategically. So I fell for Nina hard. However, I'm not stupid. Josh fell for her as well. And I'm like, he's my guy. You can't get too close to her or else I'm going to get cut here. So I've said it before. I wasn't upset that she left. I was devastated for the injury, but I wasn't upset that she left because she would have gone second if I didn't, you know, like.
Right. Yeah.
And then for Geordie, this is weird because Geordie and I haven't had a good, you know, like no one thinks we're anything because of the last night. But like I slept with George for the first few nights. We cuddled up. You know, he was very safe and very capable and so funny. Just as the game went on, he lost his head. And by then you're looking for faults in people, you know, you know, he kind of gave me a nick with all the fibs and stuff. So, but for these two, what I'm seeing now, I feel like I'm not seeing confident Nina. She's gone down in a few challenges. She hasn't got a lot to say. She was classy for the rogue thing, but I thought she'd unleash. And then with Geordie, I'm seeing this real smart, Sime, hold up. We'll do this soon. You know, Sime, not yet. Calm down, you know, and it's very different.
I think what you're seeing from Geordie is it's almost how he played last season prior to when he met the merge with Jesse, because I felt like he was a much better player. Yeah. Until he got with his brother and then he ended up on the bottom. I think had it not been blood versus water, I think Geordie, he wouldn't have been the Joker, but he would have been a big player going down the stretch. And then one thing led to another. And,
you know, like his brother being there was very detrimental to his game.
I would also like to think that maybe he's learned his lesson of like not keying in on just one specific person, like making that your sole being of like, he's not doing the Simon approach. Like Simon's approach is it's me versus George. Like I'm going to get George before George gets me. And George's just like, hey, I tried that. Didn't work.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try a different approach here. Let's be friendly with everybody and let them see how things go. Like I want numbers.
Don't forget, Geordie's popular. This is a very different personality. George isn't. So Georgie's got to be smart. He has to shut up because he's already telling us, I have no friends. Whereas Geordie's, Simon, they're the kings. You know, like.
Yep. I like the way Geordie's playing. He seems like he just like observes everything. Like he seems like he's sitting back and watching everything kind of develop. He's attached himself to somebody who's strong and is also gung-ho on this thing, so will attract a lot of attention, and he can kind of drift behind him as long as he can, and then, you know, he's going to have to dump him. I think Geordie's going to be a big part of Simon's removal. I think it's going to be Geordie getting tired of hearing about this George thing and be like, I can't, you're not listening to me. I can't work with you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's write that somewhere, Dan.
Yeah, we'll jot that down.
Let's watch this weird alternate universe that we would not have predicted of Geordie and George joining forces, and then the rest of the people screaming about their edits.
Okay. I think it's something. Geordie's playing smart and he's funny, so he's getting a great edit.
Yeah.
prior to going to the immunity challenge, we go back to Villain Beach one more time, this is where we are introduced to Michael. And all I have is, what is he doing? He's playing way too hard, way too fast. Please make it stop.
So he has the issue of it's the what you get from a fan's first favorite format.
Yes.
Of like, oh, I'm a newbie. That's the legend here. Oh, I have to go big game hunting immediately.
I'm taking you out.
Yeah.
You have not done anything personally wrong to me. You haven't done anything game wrong to me. It's George, guys. Yo, Wayne. I just met you. George.
It's George.
We're gonna hit him. I wrote down. We're gonna hit him with the old B train, the blind side train. Like, oh yeah, that's what JLP says. He calls it the old B train. Oh, that was an old B train tonight, boys.
Oh, I miss JLP. Oh, look, when you think about Michael, again, it's this journalist like that other lady. They just come in hard, and I guess people have listened to them for their whole career, so they presume out in the wild everyone wants to listen to them, but they don't. And Michael was way too... I don't actually think he did anything wrong, but he did a bit of a juicy at that...
juicy. Love that.
Yeah.
Through himself, and Georgie just, this smart man. Your forehead's getting red, your veins are popping. If someone was just digging at me like that... I'd want to come on.
Well, that's what you are when you're the cockroach of Bankstown. That they're really driving that nickname in these first 3 episodes. They crawl on your skin. They get you irritated, and it worked. But I think Wayne's only. Or not Wayne. Sorry, I'm looking at Wayne while I'm talking about Michael. But Michael, his biggest issue is just I think he was too tense about it. And then when people would mainly Simon just okay, but have you swum there?
That was weird.
Yeah.
I that immediately if I'm Simon no, you're gone.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then he was
asking,
he's trying to say he's tight with Sai. So Sai was trying to obviously engage in some sort of strap talk. And Michael was so I was like this, guys. This is how I was watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was that emoji of covering the hand, but one eye's open.
It was too much. And I mean, if I see him at the pub this week, I'll say, hey, but he'll learn next time he goes back, shut the.
It's okay. He wasn't mad. He was not mad though.
He's very fucking cringe. That's all I wrote. He's just so cringe.
Why?
Oh God, dude, he's just. I couldn't watch him. I could not watch him. I could not watch this.
It was hard.
It was. Just how many other newbies did not get to go on the show, and we had to watch this guy. Even Anjali, she was a newscaster, but you could tell she was like, oh, what's this cool, interesting experience? She's going to write a story, or she probably has, or whatever about it. Michael is you could tell he's writes for a community paper or an online publication or something like that. It's him walking down Capitol steps. It's oh, this guy's trying to save any relevance of his life in media at all by being oh, I was on Survivor.
Well, he's like Andy in his original interview of I'm about to become an all-star in 2 episodes, and then you're going to call me back for the next returning season, which will probably be 2 seasons from now, maybe even next season, with how Australian Survivor does it. But I'm about to become a legend instantly, and I'll be the biggest villain, whatever.
Yeah, and the last thing we have here is, I wrote down it's Simon's quote about George is that if he isn't the first boot, he's going to end up winning the game. And I was like, maybe they left that in there for a reason.
Well, maybe he doesn't win the game, but I think you don't put that. I don't think you put that in there, and he doesn't go on a run.
Well, and he's mentioned that they've shown him saying that at least one other time on the beach, when they were talking to everybody, and there might have been even a third time. They have used that line from Simon a couple of times, which is either they're trying to make us think something's going to happen or whatever.
Well, I mean, let's dive into 2 when you're ready, Dan. But I didn't think he was coming back, and even I know the story.
Yeah,
and I've heard people.
They had me convinced.
Yeah, and it's like I've heard people talk like without going to specifics, saying like he was a lot closer to not coming back than people realize.
Absolutely, guys. I've seen this, right? So I spoke to him the day he arrived in Melbourne. So whenever that was, whenever filming and everything, whenever it was, this face is messed. He's going to need cosmetic surgery. He hit hard. His neck. I mean, we saw him worrying about his mum. This was a big injury, and you can see when he headbutts, his legs parachuted back up.
Yeah.
So he hit hard enough for his body to bounce, Okay.
You know what? Let's get into this immunity challenge because the beginning of it is what I need to like talk about because that was the first thing in my list of like, here are things I have issues with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're into the immunity challenge. You're going over boxes. You're rolling over those into a mud pit, smashing through sticks, aka just send Sean. Dig through a huge pile of coconuts for a hammer. Use the hammer to ladder in the rungs, and then you're tossing smaller hammers to break tiles. So, Alex, what do you need to say?
The boxes incredibly stupid. I understand one of the brilliant things about Australian Survivor. It brings the grit back. It brings the physicality back. And like the more hardcore. This was just recklessly put in there just to be like, oh, we need them to go over something into the mud. Make it a roller. Like, make it so that you have to just go over a roll, like a cylinder, something circular that's naturally supposed to turn over so that your body's able to go, like, more belly flop into the mud. Like, the way that was designed was incredibly just, like, reckless and dangerous. Yeah. And I'm surprised only 2 people got injured from it. Or shown injured.
I think one person on the Heroes tribe, like, figured out to tell them to roll. I don't think anybody told George and Jackie, like, they didn't show anybody telling them to like tuck your head and roll. Whereas like they showed it on the hero side, like every time that they were turning the boxes, like
they roll,
make sure you roll, make sure you roll, make sure you roll. And I never saw that with George and Jackie. And it should have been a production note before you start, like, hey, when you do this, you're supposed to land on your back. Make sure you roll so you don't get incredibly injured and removed from this game.
But Wayne, I've gotta give you. That's why I'm here. I'm here for some insight.
Yeah.
The lecture and the safety you get before this is, I'm going to say, guys, half an hour. Like, it's not just try and be safe. It is legit. Like, they're accountable for us. I'm not going to say that Jackie and George aren't Olympic pole vaulters.
Right.
I'm going to say Sean and an NFL player and Liz and, Hayley and Flick's a surfer. Maybe their natural instinct going over is to be a bit cat-like. Georgie might not be the athlete. Jackie may not be the athlete. So I'm going to say, in terms of backing, the people that made these things, there would have been a briefing and some people are a bit more unco. I can't say that their safety would not have been a big deal, but I do like what you said. Make it a pole, make it something we're familiar with, not a flat surface to a roll.
Right. Like the square makes sense if you're going into water.
Yeah, agree.
Like, because if you're water and you're going down, even if you don't tuck, you're going under something. Like, you're not hitting
not mud.
Mud. That's underneath mud is a hard surface.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that mud did not
unfortunately,
seem very thick.
Yeah, that did not.
Man, I just remember seeing Georgie's feet out, like, what you envision in the snow, like an elf in the snow. And I went, so then, keep going, Dan. I'm itching to get to the end.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. So, I forgot that they do this in Australian Survivor because this is the US. Someone's hurt. They're shutting it down immediately. But I think it's interesting to like, okay, Jackie, George, we're going to pull you over to the side. But this is still live. Like, we're still going. And so, as you're going through it, it's, the wooden sticks that are in there. And what can you say about Sean? He just dashes right through.
Sort of like that, wasn't it? He just had the technique and they all broke.
I mean, come on. That was insanity. And then you see Simon, he like breaks 10 sticks, which is like way more than I would do. And, the village tribe's like, well, we're just going to crawl through, try and break some on your way through, and we'll eventually get through.
But
it was insane.
Just to do that, like, what if one was just facing the wrong way for Sean? Like, I don't know. crazy.
But I also think that's just part of being the athlete. Like we saw like Lockie do it multiple times in former seasons. Just like that big brute that's just like, I know if I get enough momentum, I can plow through so much just because I am so heavy. Like I'm heavy and big, so I can just bulldoze a majority, and then you give the rest of your tribe so much more wiggle room.
Yeah, because it did take a while, didn't it? It took a while for the villains to get through.
Yeah. So they get through. The heroes have the lead, but because Sam, he's struggling with the hammer, Jordy actually does pretty well. So we get down to throwing the hammers, and it's really anyone's challenge. But heroes win.
And, hey, Sam may have not been good hitting the hammers for the ladder, but he was good at throwing those hammers to get them to win. Mateship came through.
Yep. But then you got Sean, this again, our Greek Adonis, 1 from 1, 2 from 2, 3 from 3, like stroking it.
The sad thing about Sean, the sad thing I feel about Sean is it's just like, we know, like
he can't win.
He can't win. Like it just sucks because even if he plays a good social game, even if he teams up with the right number of people, I mean, the only way he can win is this if like a very exact certain type of people get on the whole game. He can't. It sucks because I like Sean.
You would have said that about Mark. They're very similar.
Mark though comes off differently, and maybe it's just because
precision. It's completely different.
I freaking knew you were going to say it. I led you there.
Like Mark has like a lot more known strategy behind him, and from his tactical precision, he was like from his profession, like it's good for him, and he also came in not like 100% in shape like he was the first time around. Like he had more padding. Sean, I feel like isn't a strategy guy. Like he's good enough to be like, oh, I like you guys. This should be a thing. Yeah, but he's not someone who's going to be leading the pack strategically.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched the season, so you're right.
And Mark, what I think, unlike Jordy, he benefited a lot from the blood versus water theme because Sam helped him a lot, and then especially after she stitched up good old Jesse, like it
stitched up.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that Mark's that whole season of it was thrown off because it was blood versus water.
And then you've got, like I always say to this day, had I have had Croc in there, you're going to remind everyone of how amazing I am. Sammy was reminding everyone of every little thing Marky did. Yes, he did do it all, and he deserved to win. I'll get over it, Chrissy. Right. But you still love have someone in there because that's
right.
The whole...
It's like your number one above all else is there to preach your praises.
Remind.
Right. Through basically till the end.
I'm just here to spread the good word.
So you guys are seriously 3 from 3. You're all saying Shawnee cannot win this series.
I don't think he can win.
His archetype just doesn't win.
Okay, I like it.
Well, I will also say his archetype doesn't win in American Survivor, which is what we probably.
His archetype hasn't won in Australian Survivor. It's like closest is Mark, but I don't put Mark and him in the same boat.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
My only, I guess, hope for a path for him forward is I think it's if he, at some point, not all about the meat tray, and it's more with Nina. Is that if Nina can protect him for a little while, if the two of them are working together.
I was going to say, it's not him and the men. He needs to be good in with the girls. Like he needs the veteran girls. He needs Nina and Haley and Flick to be like, we want you in our group. You are our like recognizing, yes, I am the meat shield, but you guys are the strategy. I'm good with that. And that can get you to merge.
And I think especially with Haley, because if she's there, that's at least, hey, I'm this big dude, but we have a winner right here. So I think the longer Haley sticks in, and if they're working together, that's better for Sean.
Yeah.
All right. So challenge is over. We go back to, Villain Beach. Shawnee's worried, Jackie and George, they're, not coming back. So, she ends up finding Liz. And this is where I have, I don't know, Wayne, if you want to talk any more about Stevie, because this is where we get his package.
Well, first of all, I want to point out Anjali saying trust is like a porcelain plate at a Greek wedding. Anjali is like actually very good on this show.
Oh, she was so
She
good
would
for
have
her.
been good.
First of all, Stevie's 63 years old. I can't believe that man is 63 years old. That's what he said. And he goes, where there is chaos, there is also opportunity. There's also Stevie. And I was like, all right. Like, come on.
It's so corny, but I love it from him.
It's so cringy, but I love it.
I was like, this has to be the next James Bond villain. It has to be Stevie. It felt like James Bond villain in a Mike Myers Austin Powers movie. Like, it's like this big bad reveal, and it's like Stevie. I don't know.
I've just got the guy out of Hangover. I can't unsee it.
Dr.
Ken Jeong.
I'm just waiting to see Stevie's pecker come out of his.
I don't need to see that. I'm good if we.
But you know,
skip that one.
But what's great here is we get to. I feel like these 3 episodes in particular, especially the first one, you really get to see Shawnee shine, which and right off the bat, she's showing that truly experience can really let you have so much power. Yep. If you let yourself really know your craft and be like, I'm gonna be good with everybody. It does not matter if Stevie's saying my name. I'm going to make sure everyone else is locked in with me.
Well, and I think Stevie's whole audition was, I hate Shawnee. And they're like, oh, good. We were going to cast her anyway. So, all right, perfect.
I've been plotting my revenge.
Yes. Sweet revenge.
Sweet revenge.
I'm going to add, because don't forget, I haven't seen Shawnee play. I watched a bit of her in that red dress and she was cute and innocent. I've then seen all the stuff that we get prior to it airing. I feel like from what I saw on her get to know you kind of stuff, she was going to be absolutely cutthroat savage. And I felt she lost a little bit of confidence in episode 1 and she was a bit nervy, not so out there. I thought she was just going to be bulletproof and think she was just the absolute untouchable. But then episode 2 and 3, we're finding it again, But 1, I was like, Shawnee, why are you insecure? Don't be insecure. She looked a little bit.
I think she was really thrown off by George not being there because, as she said, if George is there, she's the second biggest threat. And the fact that he just isn't there, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I think it really threw her off for the rest of that day.
Came back. Now we got this absolute sassy diva who's got a best friend in an Olympian. Now they're holding hands and cocky. I didn't see that in Ep 1. So I think what you just said then is the absolute money.
Yeah. So now we have the shiz, and she's between both of them. They bring out. Well, let's take out Anjali because if George were to come back, we want him to have as little numbers as possible so that we can be his numbers. So that's what we're going to tribal, knowing it's most likely going to be Anjali, but does Stevie get enough traction to get Shawnee to actually be the vote?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Right. And so we go into tribal and, we're going a little long, so we'll speed up a little bit through this process.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that Stevie has convertible pants that he wears, so he zips up his pants. He zips up his shorts to become pants for dressing occasions. Yep. So, all right.
I'm glad you noticed that.
Yeah. All right.
So
it's in bold in my notes.
Everything, it's pretty straightforward up until they go to vote. And when they go to vote, that's when, JLP comes back and says, Jackie's definitely not coming back. Yeah. George is still up in the air. Do you want to read the votes? What do you think about their decision to go for it on day 2?
I think they all knew that they were all voting Anjali and they didn't want to have to carry her through another challenge. So on the face of it, not like assuming we don't know who's getting voted out, I'm like, damn, that's fucking savage. But I would be very bummed if it was like the way that Shawnee went out. Like I was, a little, the way they'd edited it made it like, oh, that's, maybe like the third option or something like that. But because of what happened, it's like, yeah, okay, it makes sense.
I think ultimately there was a couple good reasons. It was like, one, if you all know for sure that Angelique's going, you're removing a number for George when George comes back because it was just like known that George and her were very close.
Mm.
2, Australian Survivor loves its non-elimination episodes. And by removing 2 people in one round, you've guaranteed at least one extra non-elimination round.
Yeah.
So for people like Simon, people like Jordy, people like Shawnee, it's like there's a potential benefit here of removing 2 people early. In the event that I get got, there's another chance for me.
Yeah.
And I know Wayne, you and I, we'd mentioned about it a little bit, was looking at it as, okay, George loses his 2 closest allies. If anything, obviously we know he comes back, but at this point we're unsure. I was actually more excited for it because I was like, I want to see George, because when George's back is against the wall, he's the magic man. That's where he makes everything happen.
That's so good.
And I think that him being comfortable with 2 Jackie, we didn't really even get to see her play, so I don't want to call her weak, and she seemed like a pretty awesome person.
She did,
so she looked like she could be strong and sturdy and be one of those surprise players where it's like she takes on Jerry in like a one-on-one or something like that. But I mean, him being attached to Anjali and then Jackie being the one that probably just kind of goes along with them, and him being infatuated with her with poker. I don't know if that was real or like a lie to get friends or whatever.
No, he would legit, his personality, he would have frothed that. Yeah. And you're trying to find anything that connects you to someone.
Right.
But you guys have
Come back to us.
She'll come back.
Yeah.
But I just think that him now kind of being forced to find, and I think we all saw, I don't know if it was editing or what, but I think we all saw him like teaming up with Shiz.
Yeah. Here,
what were you saying,
Chrissy? You were going to say something?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Someone rang me. Sorry. I just felt like I didn't know George was coming back, right? So watching this, you're going to send someone home. You're kind of going shit, right?
Right.
JLP could have still said, hey guys, no Jackie's out, no Georgie, because they were getting told later. So they're sending Angie home. And Georgie also could have been going home. So that's 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling like you need muscle mass or people mass or
right.
Like,
and that's definitely the other side of the argument of like why you wouldn't do it. It's just like, we just got our asses handed to us. We need all the people we can get. Now you're letting 2 people rest during the reward challenge and whatnot. Potentially 3 if George didn't come back.
Right.
Yeah. But we're on to episode 2. At the very beginning, people are speculating. But of course, as we know, George comes walking through. We have the whole baptism ceremony. Stevie baptizes
second baptism
of reborn Macedonia Jesus. Like,
wasn't that wild?
It was so funny that people were in on the bit. They're just like,
So I title each, so like because of how we watch them, we don't get to see what the episode titles are, or at least I could probably Google them, but because I don't see them, I just make up my own episode title. So episode 1 was the first pancake. That's what I called that one because of Anjali. And then episode 2 I called Macedonian Jesus. That one.
Yeah, it's the second coming of Macedonian Jesus in Samoa.
Yeah.
But I love the 2 confessionals here. One of him going into tears, going into his like acting skills of like, I can't believe I'm gonna have to tell my mom that I can't move my neck. And then the next commercial, it comes back after they lay him down. It's like, okay, were those real tears? Good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I said cry.
Yeah. You have to make them feel. And that's why he's a villain, and I love it. It's like that's why Johnny loves him. It just goes like hand in hand with dead grandma.
Yeah, George is the best.
He's the king.
And we get a bunch of cuts of Simon, and I just wrote down that like Simon is playing this season like he knows he's on TV. I think that was the thing with his last season is like It didn't seem like he was playing Survivor, but now he's playing Survivor, and he's like aware that he's on TV because he's already been on and then been off and seen what happens outside of it or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So we move forward, and let's see. And we don't get too much from the Hero Beach. They go over there. The only thing we get introductions to Sharni and Paige.
Yeah.
And then what we do see is we'll see more of it later after the reward challenge.
Paige's country girl tattoo.
We do have that. But just the Taj Mahal shelter that they have built.
My God, it was a masterpiece. I would have lived there.
I mean,
Yeah, it was.
It looked
still-
that good.
it's still on the ground though.
It still is on the ground.
That's a better,
And then-
that's a better roof.
Yeah. And then as soon as we see that, we immediately cut back to the Villains Beach where we see that their shelter sucks.
So bad.
Love it.
Saw that
So
coming.
mean.
Yeah, that they're in disaster mode. They are pure on in the episode 2. This tribe is basically in disaster mode.
And so we see more of,
Send everyone home. Start again.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
We have Michael again, he's back on his whole targeting George thing. But the next thing I have is, this is where, we see the introduction of Shawnee finding Liz. And I loved Liz from the moment I saw her resting bitch face.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love it. We have Shiz, and we also get the Spice Girls.
The Spice Girls. Oh.
And I love George playing off of it. And he's just like, well, obviously I'll be Scary Spice because look at me.
I'm going to be scary.
Yeah, because look at my scary face.
Liz, obviously Sporty Spice.
Uh-huh.
But like Shawnee has so many options. Which one did she end up with? Was it Posh or was
Baby.
it
No, she was Baby.
Baby Spice? You know what? Both are good options
Baby.
for her.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, from this, we kind of get into.
Let me just.
Sorry, go ahead, Chrissy.
I was just going to say, because I feel like I've picked a delay since I came back a bit, so I might be a bit behind you, but just let me circle back to when they're laying George down. Did you guys see Geordie and Simon just like, this guy? They were just in awe of how he's just demanding every bit of production, every bit of airtime as he lowers into the bed of water. You see Geordie and Simon like, I'm going to get on this show this season.
No. Yes. Kicking his little feet in the water.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
good.
Like he can do that himself. He can walk into the water and Stevie's just like, no. I gotta clean it.
Geordie goes, his head, he can walk.
I'm paralyzed.
I just needed to get that. Yeah, he's not paralyzed.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
I'm done.
Chrissy,
Go.
if you're still seeing that you're a little bit delayed, I don't know if you want to exit out then join back in, that might catch you back up.
I think I have to. Like, your lips aren't even moving right now.
Yeah, just jump out and then jump back in, and hopefully that'll get you caught back up.
Okay. While she's doing that, we can move to the reward
so
challenge.
we go to the reward challenge, and JLP still calls George. He said, "Still a handsome rooster."
Yep.
And this reward challenge, this is brute strength. It's the turnstile, and it's just 1v1, 2v. Well, I guess the first one's 3v3, but it's just who's got more strength, who wants it more.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
man. I love this challenge. Every single time they do it, I love just the pure will of it and the strategy behind it. Because it's just like, ultimately, the villains come out on top here just because they play it smarter. And this is where George's wheelhouse comes into play. Because in this one and the other reward challenge, it was timing. It was who do you put up against who and just who do we use to burn Sean if Sean raises his hand first. We need to have someone to just let him get that win, but we'll have all the strength for the other rounds. And you know what? Liz came through when I thought she was about to pass out.
We're back.
Chris, is it any better now?
Sorry, talk, Dan.
Is it any better now?
Okay, let's go.
So we're talking about the reward challenge from episode 2.
Turnstile, just pushing against each other.
Chrissy, how do you think you'd do on this one?
You can take Sean, right?
Yeah, who could you take?
Look, I hate this because I smashed those challenges. I won all of mine, but no one saw it. So I'm going to say I'm so competitive, guys. I would have absolutely won it. And as long as it wasn't Liz, I reckon her mental strength as an athlete goes way too deep. Like, I'm going to hang out in my head, big arms, a bit of a quad on me. Liz is going down to the toes. Like, she's going deep for her strength. So, you know, I just thought Nina would smash that. Strong as hell.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So we have the first matchup. It's we have Sam, Ben, and Matthew versus Michael, Fraser, and George. And at first, I mean, you see this burst coming from George. He's talking shit and just pushing it.
And the
Yeah, I was not expecting that from him.
He said in the first episode, he comes into this game as strong as a Lebanese housewife. So I guess that's
so they eventually lose, and I love his comment when he goes back. He's like, "When my gym sees this, they're gonna be so disappointed in me."
He's yelling when they actually were controlling it. Georgie's yelling, "You won't beat us!" And I'm like, "Come on, Macedonian!" And then I'm looking, and then you see these athletes on the other side go, "Stop pushing! What are we doing?" And then their strategy kicked in while these guys were still giving it everything. Yeah, it was a given, wasn't it? Was it a given?
Yeah. The only thing that I'll say is that strategy worked out for them the first one, and they just assumed that it would continue to work. And not so much, because you have second matchup, Shawnee and Liz versus Nina and Haley. And
on paper, you would think the heroes would have won that. Like, Liz is very strong, but I was like, no, if it's Johnny, Johnny's not known for her, like, the physicality of the challenges. Mm-hmm. She's known for her social game. Like,
we know she's been in the gym. Yeah,
and we know Haley, while small, is strong and has a high pain tolerance.
She's rich,
It was just like
I will say I think I call it, and that Liz is going to be underestimated through the season because pole vaulters are like the best athletes in the world. I mean,
we said it, didn't we? We said it.
Yeah, we did. We said it before. It's like, I think she's going to become huge in these challenges and just like.
But Wayne, take out pole vault. Okay, we know that this is a sport where they balance their.
Oh no! She got a call.
I'm assuming that's what it was last time, and it messed everything up. But like, as a former pole vaulter, I'm thankful for the compliment.
Oh, you were?
I was.
No, but I'm not even like dissing that. I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
You could be a bowler, an Olympian bowler. Yeah. You could be an Olympian darts thrower. You have to have a certain strength, to train your entire 4-year. Like, that takes some.
Yeah.
But like,
and we have kind of written her off.
Well, yeah, with Liz,
just not giving her much.
But with pole vaulting, I always go hand in hand with track. So like, when you do pole vaulting, you also do the track drills, and track drills are all about leg power, leg strength, leg endurance, and just knowing you can keep pushing. Like, you see her almost, like, legitimately almost pass out, but she gets into that third gear, that fourth gear, and just keeps pushing.
There it is.
And got it done.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, you have villains tie it up. And then here's the powerhouse match. Sean and Flick versus Stevie and Mimi.
Yes, Stevie and Mimi. Stevie and Sean the matchup of the century that we all did not know we needed.
Oh god!
How
and
good
and we
was
get it twice. We get it twice.
We get it
I love it.
twice.
I love it.
And
I
it's
love
not a contest. Twice.
And George just figured out, if we could find a way to take Sean out of the challenge, we
Yeah.
have a chance to win.
Yeah, it's literally if I'm the
This
heroes.
mastermind.
Yeah, it's like if I'm the heroes, I'm not putting Sean in any round where a hero has to raise their hand first.
Mm-mm.
It's
Mhm.
like Sean is. Let's see what they do. If Simon
Mhm.
raises his hand, you're raising your hand. If you do not see Simon raise his hand, you ain't raising your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously that's a blowout.
Smart.
And then we go to David versus Simon, which I love from this is JLP even says Battle of the Beefcakes. And at some point during the challenge, I think it was Stevie or whatever, but you can hear him yell, "Come on, Beefcake."
Yes. So it was definitely Stevie yelling, "Come on, beefcake."
I'm obsessed with
revenge.
Stevie.
Hey.
Yeah.
But Simon, being a smart villain like he is, doesn't even push it all the way through, but gets both his legs over. And JLP
Kept
wanted
going,
it
though.
to be
He
like,
kept going. Yeah.
yeah. JLP wanted it to keep going, but he's like, well, technically, he did get both his feet over, so villains win.
You're a villain, so this is going to make
Yeah.
for good TV.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That makes it 2-2. And then the final showdown is Liz versus Nina. And
I was surprised it was Nina pooled here and not
Yeah.
Flick.
not Flick. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
I was
I
surprised
don't
by
know.
that
We
too.
don't see all the rounds. So-
Guys, don't forget, there's probably been another, I'm going
Right.
to say, and Australia's listening, the contestants are listening, there would have been another 5 to 10 rounds. So Nina and Flick or whoever, no, Flick and Liz, they might have had 2 already.
Gotcha.
Right.
You can't keep watching us 9 times. Like, we're there for hours. So
Okay.
And it's good to know because when they say like, oh, this is best of 5, and I'm like, there's 12 people on this tribe. How are you not having all of them compete?
everyone
and
has,
then-
we do.
Yeah,
Everyone has a couple
right.
of goes.
They just don't show it.
Mhm.
The best battles and the one that suits probably the best.
Yeah.
In saying that, you guys saw Croc nearly pass away,
Right.
and that climbing one,
Yeah.
it looked like he'd done 1. Like, he had done 2 with asthma. So it's not. That's where I find this really hard as a contestant now watching it, because I go, God, Nina probably just backed on. She
Right,
probably
yeah.
just did one, and then all of a sudden Liz goes, "Oh, who's the strongest, Nina? You got to go again, babe."
Yeah.
Yeah. Then this leads to it's one of the best moments we've had so far, the tribe raid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wild.
and I don't know who it was who said it, because like you had Flick and a couple of heroes be like, remember, social game, like we will be with each other at some
Clever.
point. And
It would've
so
been Haley, wasn't it?
one of the villains, as they're trailing off, goes, "We're just gonna burn your tribe to the ground. Like we're gonna set your camp on fire." And I was like, why didn't
George.
they?
Yeah. Why not?
Well,
If it was up to
let's go
George,
there.
they would have.
Let's go there.
Yeah,
This
so
is a villain's
Right.
let off the lead. Like, Georgie got shut down, and I'm still
Right.
shook by it.
Right.
I don't understand it because you
Just
see
some
how
other
amazing their shelter is. And it's just, what you're sleeping in. Why would you not try to even that playing field a little bit?
well, it's exactly what George said. It's like, and I think George played this round correctly, where he was like, where Mimi was like, "Hey, we do need to remember, like, we're gonna be working with them at some point." And George's like, "Heck with that! Like, I'm here for the villains tribe. This is my tribe. I'm not planning to work with anyone on that tribe. If that's your prerogative, Mimi, then go ahead."
Mhm.
I think we should tear apart this shelter. We should take all their food. We should put out their fire and make them start all over again. But
they're winning.
I will take a step back.
Right.
They're winning. They're eating. They're sleeping. They're dominating the challenges. Why? I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been there. The sleeping is shelter is life. I was freezing, and then burning hot. So, okay, the shelter, fine. Maybe your morals, you got to hold on to some kind of moral measure. But, like, villains look shit. Like, if
I'm going to be letting these heroes sleep so beautifully under their Balinese hut that's fanning them with the fronds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take one leg out
and
of
also,
it. I'm going to take one leg out of the house.
and also, the rest of these people are going to say it a million times. This is a game. This is a game. It's a rule in the game. You get to go do whatever you want to their camp. Destroy that camp. Like
Yeah.
it is.
And Georgie did it. He
Yeah.
was shocked. You see his face.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is he shocked or is he laughing or is he going to keep going? He looks at them like, is this a joke? Can I keep going? You know, like, but they lost it, didn't they? They weren't happy.
No.
But I think
even when they go to put out their fire, like they don't even do that correctly.
Right, but I think ultimately he still did everything right. Like he, in a way, like gets back in sort of with a majority of the villain tribe because he's showing like I'm willing to make this extra effort.
Yeah, be a
to
team. Yeah, that's
really
true.
spoil it up. But Mimi is why I'm gonna back up because I don't want to create bad cohesion amongst the group.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I will step off, which is funny because then he tries to get Mimi in as a number later on.
I know.
Doesn't work.
Wow.
So from this, we pretty much go to the immunity challenge. And so for this one, you're making your way through a wooden obstacle, maneuver a giant ball up and over a ramp, use it to knock over a puzzle, and then recreate the puzzle. It's very US Survivor, but with 7 more difficult steps prior to getting there.
It's a fun challenge though overall, even if it's only fun because I'm like, wow, Sean is just a beast. It's like unfair that he's on this tribe and they don't have someone on the other tribe who's 6'7" and 110 kilos.
But honestly, to be fair, I mean, outside of maybe getting ahead one more hurdle on the ball, like he didn't really add that much to this challenge.
Yeah, true.
Because once Liz is on Jordy's shoulders and they just, I mean, they went just.
Oh yeah, Liz powered through that.
Just powered through it. So it's like, it's not that impressive strong. It's just like, holy shit, he's tall. Like
and it's also for the team. I feel like if you like, we had Mark and he'd give us this pep talk and slap us on the back and say, we got this, you know, little, if you know Sean's there and can step up if he needs to, that makes it very less stressful than we're dead. Yes. You know, like this is a very big man that's making them feel at ease before they crack in. Like that's a big bonus.
I would say the only thing I would have done differently is I think I would still had a girl like go on top of Sean's shoulders, do it all, so that you can serve him. So you can serve his energy for the later portion of the challenge where there's a lot more strength needed, like to go through that incline of carrying that ball over the hurdles. But like ultimately, it doesn't matter because it all comes down to the puzzle anyway.
Yeah, and this is unfortunately, you know, we see a little bit of a blunder from old George, which still made me laugh of being like, Steve, I don't think our thought process would be the same.
And it's funny because it ends up, it would have been.
Yeah,
it would have been.
Stevie.
I think that's if he's going to make a mistake, that we're done now. Georgie's made one mistake; he doesn't make another one.
No.
Okay,
it's like Stevie, you get to
puzzle
do all
genius.
the puzzles moving forward.
He's just like, I don't think we're gonna vibe. Like he just like,
and then everyone agrees.
Yeah,
like all the women go, yeah, you're not gonna work together.
Do you know what though? Georgie got some street credit because he surrendered and said, "Someone come in. I'm not performing. I'm not going to wreck this and be, you know, like a hero here. Someone come in," and they didn't let them. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Because he tried to sub out because he knew.
Yeah.
And Michael's trying to throw all this blame on George, and no one said it. I know it's what they were insinuating. It's like, hey, Frazier was also doing this part of the challenge. Right.
Yeah, but
well, not really. He wasn't really doing anything. He was
too small. They figured he was good with building blocks.
He can't even reach the top row.
Well, here's the thing, you know, Frazier has a lot of tattoos, but he does not have a tattoo of an idol on his chest, and his name's not George. From Bankstown.
I know.
Can we just go back to Frazier was playing with building blocks?
He won.
Frazier would have to get on the top of George's shoulders to put the top row on.
He might need to get on the top of Sean's shoulders to do that.
Yeah. But the villains win, or no, the heroes win
Yeah.
because, Sean was able to really maneuver those balls because, those balls, when he moves them, are smooth. And if you want smooth balls when your balls drop, we got the ad for you.
Support for Reality After Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's right, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 12 million balls.
The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever.
Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and has a 4000K LED spotlight that you need for a more precise shave.
Now, I have a dark shower curtain in my bathroom, and I've been looking for the perfect way to shave in the dark, kinda. Guess what? I found it! 4000K LED! No longer a problem. I got perfectly smooth, clean balls thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0.
It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SURVIVOR. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SURVIVOR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Thanks for sticking with us through the ad break. And don't forget, for more exclusive Reality After Show coverage, visit realitypatron.com. That's reality, patron.com.
And we are back. Just want to take a second right here. And yes, we love Australian Survivor. We're talking about it. But with season 44 coming up, do you guys want to watch an episode live with Johnny Fairplay? He has plenty of viewing parties going on throughout the entire season. We have March 1st in New York. We have March 15th, Nashville, Tennessee. March 22nd, Cincinnati, Ohio, with Wayne and Matt Bischoff.
And Johnny just told me today that there's no way that there would be a couple of players from the region that would never show up to his viewing party in Cincinnati. So there's a couple of players that are around Cincinnati, they live about an hour and a half away, and they said that there's absolutely no way CBS would ever allow them to show up at that viewing party. So if you don't want to watch Survivor with survivors that are currently playing, you should come to this party
Then we have March 29th. He's going to be in Boston, Massachusetts. May 3rd, Durham, North Carolina. May 17th, Charlottesville, Virginia. And then for the finale, May 24th, he will be in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. With all of these, he will be joined by the Queen herself, Sandra Diaz-Twine, as well as plenty of special guests at every different location.
Except Ohio.
Except Ohio.
no special guests. I hope Kentucky Joe shows up. He usually shows up.
Yeah. You can get tickets for all of these at survivortix.com. That's survivortix.com. All right.
I'll just say,
fly on over.
Please, you can stay at my house. You can play with my daughter.
Oh, yay!
I will say these. These VIP packages sell out always. So if you want to do meet and greets, if you're like, I want to meet Johnny, I want to meet Sandra. You have a chance to meet Sandra. You got to buy the VIPs. Tickets will sell out for most of these events, especially the ones in the South. Those will, because that's Johnny's home stomping grounds. Those always sell out.
Yeah, who doesn't want to meet the Queen? And I'll just say real quick, the Queen, Sandra, she's the best. I got to talk to her once on this podcast during last season. I met her, it was 2 seasons ago at a viewing party. When she showed up at the one this past season, she remembered me, gave me a big hug. Sandra's just the best.
I'll tell you what, I don't get starstruck often, and I probably will when I meet her, because I mean, forever. I mean, since I was 20, I've been a fan of her. So,
Oh, she's that good in real life. That good. So good.
Well,
Yeah.
you will not be meeting Michael, at least, because Michael's still aiming for George.
Yeah, we have it. We're back at the villains camp. Michael gunning for George again, and this is where we talked about it earlier. He's not only gunning for George, but then he's getting really weird with Simon about it.
He's weird with everybody about it, and he's like actively like with people around. Like Shawnee comes from behind, and he looks at Simon, and goes, "Should I talk to Sean?" Like very loud, but thinking he's whispering, and he's like, "No, no. I'll talk to her." And then it like push like Michael aside. This is all about the veterans coming together and being like, here Jordy's getting like the pitch from all the newbies, like, oh, it should be George. George is the biggest snake, and George's starting to think like, oh, maybe it is the time to do it. Like maybe it is, but I'm gonna approach people, and it's Simon here who's like, I don't think it's time yet. Like I could be, but I'm not sure because it's like between both of them and Shawnee all talking together. It's like, okay, it's not time yet.
My favorite is I actually had to go back and rewind it because I missed it a little bit the first time. There is a point where Michael refers to them as the four amigos, and he's talking about himself, Simon, Jordy, and Stevie. The four amigos.
Dude. Michael
you
is
just get
playing
lost,
his.
eh?
He is playing his own game. He has no idea what is happening out there.
He's too busy looking past the event. It's like a
Yes.
receiver. It's like a receiver in football. They're about to make the catch, but they look away because they're looking to see who's coming to hit them. It's like you have to secure the bag first before you can run with it. And like you even have when he goes with Stevie, and Stevie very quickly is like, "No, I want George. Okay, we need to separate. This is weird." And Stevie's saying that.
Yeah.
Well,
we know how good George is, but here, this is really where we see, if you forgot, this is how good Shawnee is at this game.
Oh, so good. Because like you have
wow.
You have a point where everyone's starting to return onto George, but she has a conversation with Mimi saying, I don't think it's time yet. And Mimi agrees. Like Mimi's like, I don't see George as a threat. I don't feel like he's the one who should go. And Simon goes to Mimi, goes, I think it's time. Everyone says we're good with George, and she's like, I'm not.
Well, I would say this is where it showed that Mimi maybe not all that great when she doesn't say I'm not, but she also throws Shawnee under the bus a little bit too and being like, we're not good with that.
But what's funny is Shawnee doesn't get any of the flack there. It's like I think it all ends up looking onto Mimi next episode. Like her not wanting to destroy the
Shawnee shut it down. Yeah.
Mimi being like, no, Mimi gets the blame for it, for kiboshing the George vote. And then we see what happens next episode. But like that leads us into Tribal. Is like, will they actually flip on George, or is it Michael's time? And really, like we said, there was a juicy moment there with Michael. So I think that's the real meat and potatoes of the entire Tribal. If you want to dig into that.
Yeah, I mean, so we can just jump ahead to Tribal, and this is where. This is George. This is where he shines, and this is the George Tribal Council.
So masterful.
Just and this is early. Like we're not even in the depth yet. This is just a little thing that he did, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. And so I mean, the first thing that you see is he's being, he's emotional, talking about his injury.
Oh yeah, you can hear him cry. Like he's just
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. But then what's interesting then with it then is, Simon that's where I don't understand why you'd ever say at Tribal that you're not 100% locked into your vote.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
He keeps making mistakes this week, and I'm hopeful he can get past some of this stuff and keep moving, but I don't think he'll go immediately, but I think there's going to be a specific moment that he gets humbled, but that requires us talking about episode 3. But yeah, he says he's not locked in. This is where Michael goes like, well, yeah, it's like I don't trust George. I think George and Fraser cost us the immunity. And like you see not only George like defend himself. Be like, what have I ever done to you? Like, we have not
just
dropped
pulled on
any
that.
type of game or life in 5 days, and I was gone for one of those days because of an injury. I've not said your name, I haven't done anything, but you just keep coming after me. So what have I ever done to you? Have I hurt you? That's
I have in my notes,
nope.
what an asshole.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm
not mean. I'm not mean. There's nothing mean about this. It's just game. I don't have any problems with you. I don't have any problems with him.
As he's getting redder.
Yeah.
And
He's calm, cool, and collected. Don't worry.
And then
there's been a lot of these moments, guys, and unfortunately the big dog Michael's in a lot of the scenes where we're all going like this.
Yeah.
So there's a common denominator of cringe because I was just dying.
But like, if you were still wondering, like, is George still going to go? It's like, you can tell the tides have extremely shifted. If there was even still like an opening there, when almost over half the tribes like, hey, knock it off. Like, it's a team challenge. Like, Mimi, once again,
I was going to say,
in.
Mimi steps in. I think Mimi assured George not going home by stepping in and be like, well, I don't agree with that at all. Like, you know, other tribe mates, like other Survivor players, aren't as direct as she's been when she's like, no, that's not, like, they dance around it and you can still kind of dance your way back to being back on George. But she like put a like hard stop to the conversation and challenged Michael. Michael, probably not somebody that is challenged very often because he talks so much, and then that gave George that one little sliver, like, okay, here we go.
Don't give him room.
Hey, you're slivering and he just gets to sit back and be like, why are you mad though?
Yeah, why you mad, bro?
Why are you mad though?
And people, when you have a relationship with someone out there, one day is 1 week. So even if you're a little bit like Georgie, Michael attacked and he was basically implying, George, you were shit, you wrecked it. Now, I'll take you back to Blood vs. Water again. Brianna implied that I let the team down and I was unfit, too big, too heavy, too tired, kept quitting. My people that I'd had 1 day, which equals a week, 2 days, I'm up to 2 weeks bonding with these people, they got offended for me.
Right.
So it's these little, it doesn't take much to trigger someone out there. You times it by 100, you're going home. You don't, there's no redemption. There's not.
Right. So, like, Michael ultimately goes here. I think the moral of the story here is, like, what you're bringing up is, as much as we all want to be, like, us at home, we're like, oh, this is a game of strategy. This is a game of, like, you know, you're playing 4D chess with people while, like, the rest of them are only looking at the box of a checkerboard. It's like, I'm going to outmaneuver. I'm going to play a cutthroat game. Social matters.
Yep.
Relationships matter. How you interact with people, how you speak to them, what's your tone of voice, how, like, what vibe do you give off to people? All that stuff matters. And I think, unfortunately for Michael, he didn't have his strengths there. No. Which, even if people who wanted to work with him and do the move with him, they're like, no, we have to cut bait. And you once again see George with his little thing of brilliance. It's just like, hey, I know all the votes are on him. I'm still going to put a vote on Stevie just in case something weird happens.
Right.
Contingencies always.
Speaking of Stevie, the one thing that I do have down is, you know, this is George. This is George versus Michael here. But Stevie does have the line that says, if you want loyalty, buy a dog.
Oh, that was a good one. So good. It was a good line. But, like, you do want loyalty.
George saying at the beginning of Tribal that he could do a nervous poo was also...
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It was like, this is the most chaotic. I never felt this in the Outback. I could do a nervous poo right now.
Dude, I laughed so hard.
The line of the episode may have been... at the very end, when you finally see, you know, George's confession or whatever, he says, I'm the king of this game and no one will remember your name.
Oh my God. That was so savage. That was so savage. I think he said
more than that. Didn't he say, I'm the king of Survivor? Like, he didn't even give it Australia. Didn't he go the world?
I was paraphrasing. Yeah, it was a lot more hard.
But
I remember going, oh!
But that sends Michael out. That gets us into episode 3. Wayne, do you have an episode title for us for episode 3?
No, I did not.
Oh no.
I mean, it was just cookie jar. It was just
You know what? That's fine.
Was too. Yeah.
Ookie cookie. How about we call it ookie cookie?
Crumbles.
Ookie cookie.
This
How
is
the
how the
cookie-
cookie
oh yeah, no,
crumbles.
how the cookie crumbles. That's what it was. That's what it was.
How the
That
cookie
line was
crumbles.
too epic. That line was so epic.
And you got to see Jonathan's when he delivers it without laughing, because obviously he might
Yeah.
have something to do with it, but there's some serious help. And when he finally gets it out, his little smirk is heaven.
Jordy's reaction to those lines is just so good. He's just like, oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Amazing, Jonathan.
Yeah. We start this episode. I think this is where we get the intro package for Sarah about her pushing Miss Reese. And we once again hear her line of like, well, if I actually had pushed her, she wouldn't have gotten up. And like we have George there to reenact it with her. She like pushes him out, gives him a little kick in the side as well. I love I love how Australian Survivor does their opens. And like right before they do the credits, they do that type of scene because I find it so wholesome. It's like, here are the little things you don't normally get to see in a Survivor episode. It's like harmless content. It's fun. But now we get right into it, Dan.
Yeah. So we also find out that Sarah was also a rugby player, which is something that I definitely never would have guessed.
I did
so
not
it's
know
like,
that.
okay, all right, maybe there's a little bit more bite there than what you think.
We did know this. She like played rugby in high school.
grade 4.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
that's right.
She,
we talked about
she was
this on
like,
the cast.
she was like, she played when she was like way younger, and she's
Hey,
still
it
like,
translates.
like I'm. Yeah. Well, there's AFL players that are playing out there. Like I would say, like,
there's no difference. They're basically the same.
No, I used to be in the choir. When I was in grade 2, I was in the choir. I cannot sing. I don't get to put that I'm a singer on my resume.
No,
I'm
Chrissy,
a musician.
If you go back, I want you to have that in your package.
In grade school. I don't get to say I'm a professional pole vaulter now.
Yeah, I'm a musician. I played recorder in 4th grade. That's
everyone gets to put that down.
I can still do hot cross buns, so we're all musicians.
I can't.
And so we have that opening.
Twinkle.
Yeah, we have that opening right after we come back to the villain tribe, and we have a few good things. We have for I guess a split second, Simon says he's no longer gunning for George. That doesn't last long. But then this is where we get more Stevie magic. I mean, and this is after Shawnee calls him the villain's janitor.
Oh, yeah, because he does all the work. He does all the work at the camp.
That was the most savage line. Are you kidding me?
I love him. I'm Stevie.
I know. I love Stevie.
I love this little comedic rivalry that they have. It's so harmless.
If Stevie makes it to the top 3, I'm getting his white glasses tattooed on me.
Oh,
record.
Well,
yeah, no,
Wayne,
it's recorded.
It's recording. Wayne, I don't think you're going to have to worry about that, but I will fly up to Cincinnati to watch it happen.
We'll do an episode. If you
do that, I think you also need like a toy soldier underneath it.
Well, him doing his Tai Chi, I just really want to be like, in some world, I just want to see him interacting with Coach doing Tai Chi on the beach.
He's just like, you imagine the power in your feet, and then you hold the fire, and then you release it on your enemies.
So
Sweet revenge.
So cute. But I fear for Stevie because there's sometimes the hidden edit is all this funny hype, and they get a bit caught up in it, and then boom, you go.
Right. It's like
we'll see.
It's not like I'm not gonna give him like what we call in America like the dodo edit. Like I don't think he's getting that, but he's definitely getting you're the comedic relief. Mm-hmm. Like whenever 100%. You are on, like we are gonna have a good time.
Sean. Yeah, we're gonna have fun. Yeah,
right. Yeah.
You might not win Survivor, but you will be remembered.
You will win the hearts of a lot more people than you did on your first season.
Yes,
100%.
Yay!
Yes. This brings us right then into the reward challenge, and so for this,
Matt Bischoff's challenge.
Yeah. They're facing off 1v1. You run out into the water, out and around, grab a bag, and you need to get it into your goal. And they are playing for Jericho's secret cookie stash because I think Jericho could fit in that container.
Yeah.
He definitely
Okay.
could. That was huge.
That was
First
massive.
of all, was there a hole on the villain's side of the course? Because every single person fell.
Fell over. Hilarious.
Every
I
single
think-
person.
I think it's possible that like at the time that they set it up, like the ground was smooth, but if you
Yeah.
have a swell or something at some point, maybe a divot was created. Because I agree, like you saw, it's primarily
Significant loss.
Jordy and Mimi and Stevie. All three of them all tumbled during it.
They should have
Jordy
swapped
doesn't
sides.
fall. He's an athlete. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There
then
was
so
something sus there.
before it starts, you do have that Haley's shocked that George is still there. And I do love between this and the one that we're going to get to or whatever. It's like, I don't think there's as much animosity there as what they're leading on.
No,
No,
I know
we
what you're
all-
talking
Yeah.
about.
Anyone who follows it, we all know that they're for each other. Like if all else, even if they didn't like each other, if they both knew they were coming on, they understand the situation that they're both in.
Mhm.
It's like it's the same reason that Shawnee's keeping George around is why George would want Haley around and Haley vice versa. It's like we are literally the face of the season.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So matchup one, we have Shawnee versus Flick. You know, Shawnee put up a little bit more of a fight than I thought she would, as we talked about the last episode.
There was a brief moment. There was a brief moment in time where I was like, is Shawnee about to upset Flick here? Like Flick, who's literally Aquawoman, like this is her turf.
Also, we haven't talked
She
about
has a
Flick's
tie.
swimsuit yet. By the way, we haven't.
But
Talked
you know
about
what? Johnny's not here. We would be remiss if we did not speak. She knew what she was picking.
Well, the Johnny Memorial. She picked the right swimsuit.
100%.
If you could call it a swimsuit,
barely.
If you can call it that. I do worry for my girl because she's going to get skinny and her face is going to get big. She's going to get skinnier. So there's going to be some extra material flapping around. We'll have to wait and see.
As long as it's not Stevie flapping around, I'll be just fine.
He's got convertible pants. They won't flap. They got zippers. They got weights on them. They don't flap around.
Oh, crazy.
Then
Crazy. No, there are some very interesting choices of bikinis, I have to say.
Yeah, they showed them all off in the first episode too. We didn't talk about that because Johnny wasn't here.
I know, we should have.
Yeah.
There was just, I mean, half of the women's intro in the first one was just like, here's where we start
Booty.
on their ass, and then we'll
Booty
we'll
and
zoom out.
beautiful.
yeah, it was like
booty.
Shawnee's intro was
Shawnee.
looking at her butt. Flick's intro
Yeah.
looking at her butt. It's like
How many bulges have we seen? Like none.
we've seen abs
Sean.
because Simon did say I have the abs to win Survivor.
And we do get the meat tray, the meat tray.
Meat tray's coming up. Yeah.
Meat tray
Matchup 2, we have the matchup of the season, Sean versus Stevie.
I love it. I love Stevie coming up to him like Sean playing around like they're doing like a face off in like USC, but like Sean literally has to bend all the way over just to look at him in the eye.
I think it's closer if Stevie doesn't fall. I think it's closer.
You know what? I think with the Tai Chi,
You're tripping. You're tripping.
I think with the Tai Chi, he could have held on to
No,
a
Stevie's
leg.
tripping.
Yeah. And then he tripped again.
Yeah,
So-
he tripped again. Dude, I thought he lost his glasses too.
No,
Not
he
his
handed
glasses.
them off.
Okay, all right.
So
all right.
one of his tries
That's
was
why
very
he
nice
can't
and
see.
cookie. Yeah.
He's just running
That's
out
why
of the
he
ocean
fell.
blind.
That's why
That's
he
not fair.
fell.
You gotta get
If
Rex-
if
you gotta
Stevie
get
lost
Rex
his
specs.
glasses, you just see Wayne flying over to Samoa looking for him.
Yeah. That's the one piece of Survivor memorabilia that I would like. I'll put him right here next to
They're
Jerry
that
Garcia.
cute.
Yeah, God,
They're
they're
that
perfect.
cute.
They're perfect.
The third
glasses.
matchup we see is Matt versus Jordy, and Jonathan says the Joker versus the lifeguard. It's like that would be the worst movie ever.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, we see Jordy throw Matt around here.
Yeah.
Maybe
slam
I
dunk
don't
people.
remember what Jordy looked like in his original season, but did he get bigger, like stronger?
He's
for this?
yeah, he's way bigger. He looks way bigger. He's way thicker, and he's shaved his head, so he looks.
But
he
the
just
shaved
looks
head
thick.
definitely
He looks
threw me
thick.
off the first time I saw him. I was like, That's not what you look like.
You also got to think, before he came on his last season, it's not like he was living a life where he could like sit and like train for Survivor.
True.
You know,
True.
like you prepare. You definitely, everybody that's going on prepares for Survivor, but now he's in a position where like he could actually take time and focus on being ready for Survivor.
Hey, and it pays off. Like, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting him to beat someone whose profession is literally the fight.
Yeah, to be in the
type
water.
of shit in the water.
To like lift people in the water, right? Like he just slam dunked
their lives.
But you know what?
Yeah.
It's because he's a hero. He's too nice about it.
Yeah.
He has to play a little dirty.
And he was probably in shock. When you get muscled up against and you think it's kind of going to be nice, there's no nice. Like Matt would have probably been behind the 8 ball and just a little bit like, oh shit, I'm in trouble here. And it was too late because once you get that bloody crocodile hold.
Right.
Yeah. Matt's too nice.
He's so nice.
Yeah.
He's guys. He's so nice. I can't tell you. I only met him for the first time last week. Oh, he's heaven on earth.
He comes off as like the golden doodle. Like he or the golden retriever. Like that's the type of vibe he gets. Like he's there for a good time. I'm here to be a follower. I'm here to have fun, have an experience. Like I think he thinks he's there for the win, but he's not there for the win.
Well, speaking of that takes us into the 4th matchup where we have, mateship. I don't know when we started calling Sam Webby, but, we have Webby versus Simon.
Well, he has a tattoo. The Webb tattoo.
Well, isn't it his last name as well?
His Webb,
it is, yeah.
Webb, yep.
Mateship.
I don't need to hear mateship anymore. But here we go. Thanks to, George calming Simon down, saying, don't go against Sean. We get a nice win for Simon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But once again, there was some fight there. But ultimately Simon pulls through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then it makes way more sense, as you were saying earlier, Chrissy, is that how they're probably doing way more rounds, because going into the last matchup where they're like, oh, Mimi versus Paige, I was like, this makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It probably wasn't the last round. That could have been round 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to just, if you don't, this is the thing though, like you don't want to know that sometimes, but it's good to know it. You know what I mean? Like you might not like knowing that, but Paige probably was 2nd or 3rd, and it was maybe the other one's 3rd time. You just got to know that sometimes those upsets aren't upsets; they are exhaustion.
Yeah.
But Mimi ultimately does pull off the win, and
unbelievable.
And it's so funny of this episode, just like a high to being eliminated in the same episode, because like you have the whole team coming to her. You have George going, like, "I'm so proud of you, Mimi.
I love
Mimi,
it. No,
you
they're
won
tight.
it."
They were tight.
Yeah,
I know they were. Poof, you could tell, and Georgie has actually said, him and Mimi were poof. They were really strategically close, and then you can see it how he's like, "Mimi, you did it," and then she shot herself in the bloody foot again.
Yeah.
They get all nervous.
Villains win reward. They win all the cookies, so they get to go back with those. I think before, good. For some reason, we go to the heroes camp first. Not entirely sure why, but they go to the heroes camp first. They're all thinking about the cookies. They mention it's Sean, and then of all people, it's Rogue saying they were out strategized. But we can. Oh wait, no, this is where we need it, because this is where we get the scene.
I was gonna say
the meat tray.
Who needs cookies when you can look at a good meat tray where you have the porterhouse of Sean? You have
he's the T-bone steak.
Oh no, the T-bone steak. He's the show. You show that. The porterhouse.
Sam Webby. He's the porterhouse. He's the crowd pleaser, as like to say. If Dave, strapping athlete, so he's got to be the back strap.
Yeah, because look at that back.
Yeah. And then you have Matt, the ocean boy.
Catch of the day.
Catch of the day, a little bit of surf and turf. And then you have Ben calling himself mincemeat.
Yeah.
Because I like to spread myself around.
So funny. He's a taco, he's a burrito. That was so funny.
I disagree. Matt is a filet mignon. He's not the catch of the day. He's this cute little piece of meat that you just kind of cook up perfectly, and everybody loves it. Yeah.
I love.
Let's change it.
Yeah, you know what, Benjamin, you did a great job, but we're gonna keep it to the cow.
I love Benjamin after this confessional. We didn't really know him, but I'm like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah, how funny is he?
Yeah, before this moment, the only thing we know is he apparently is good at puzzles. Him and Nina killed the puzzle in the second episode. But now you're like, okay, he can give a good confessional, good analogies, some humor. The girls love him.
He walks up to the girls and goes, meeting of the minds, the meat trade. It's like everybody, like, come on. But like, obviously,
we get more.
Right. Like, you show that because I think we do get the heroes going to tribal next week. We have to. Or some version of them. And I think you show.
So have you seen the little extra snippet of the first episode? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because that looks wild. I didn't know if you guys had seen it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they showed a meat trade because I think at least one of them gets clipped. Like, I think you're shown this to be like, oh, they're indestructible. Rogue's going to go out, and everyone thinks Rogue's going to go out. And then you, like, lose mateship.
Oh.
Not Webby.
It's not a mateship season, though.
It's not a mateship.
It's not 2016 anymore.
Yeah. So then we move over into the villains camp, and then this is where we have the fun that really starts. Because, yeah, sure, they're all happy about the cookies, but then more of George's brilliance. He's out there. He's searching for idols. He says there's one, distinct tree that he hasn't found. And if he really was able to find it that fast and get back without them knowing, then good on him. Like, that's incredible.
Well, I think he said he did know the tree. He didn't have a chance, to look at it, though.
Yeah.
Because he was like, all the trees are the same except this one tree.
Yeah, there's no shade. I found a clue because there was a tree facing the wrong way. Like, there's no one giving you a little wink or anything. This guy, there would have been abnormal small trees around this monster, and one hasn't been found yet. Like, we were just walking, and I'm like, that tree should not be falling over because we are in the sticks. These trees have been here for 900 years, or 9 million years. So I think this guy had spent, which we hadn't seen, hours assessing this forest, and then all of a sudden this big ball sack of a tree stands out, and that's how. And we get to see the absolute gold when he reiterates, Haley, go find a tree as well. Be still, my beating heart. Oh.
Well, and he finds the idol, and Chrissy, it isn't just you. George also got a love letter from Jonathan.
Yeah. Remember, everybody, idols come with parchments.
Also, idols come with, making it a necklace more times than not. On Australian Survivor, and parchment and wrapping paper, it's wrapped in the note.
But it's Survivor. Anything can happen. Like, you are so in the bubble. I would have thought, and to this day, Simon said he absolutely thought it was an idol. Khan came back with half an idol and we knew it was an idol. Like, you're in the bubble. You can't see, common sense or reality. You just see, I'm going to last another day.
Because you also think, what are they going to do? Put a note and package in this thing, or make something that looks like a cookie?
It can't fit. Exactly.
Right. So it's it looks like a cookie. So it's not, you can't just shake it around and see what's in there. So for the situation, it kind of makes sense. Of course it's an idol.
It does. Yeah.
So we're skipping ahead, and we'll just cover it now.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm saying because we're talking, we might as well get it all out right now. Because Simon finds it, but why put something that looks like that in there? Unless maybe something comes back later that we haven't seen yet.
So there's theories behind this. Some think that maybe it was already something that was part of the container that when Mimi was rummaging through.
She broke it.
It could have been something that broken off. It could have been something at camp that broken off. Did someone break off something at a immunity challenge or something, and it'll be a flashback later on of I decided to throw this in here so that if someone pulled it out, they think they have an idol. I don't know if that's the case. Brilliant. only thing I'll hate is if production put that in there and it is nothing. Because if it wasn't an idol, it needed to have writing with it so that you know what it is.
And it looks similar enough to
though-
the idol that George found. Like if you put it like they both
look
kind of have
similar.
like that green emerald type thing in it.
That was the thing that kept getting me. I was like, but I remember there was like green stuff on like the container.
The jar.
So I don't know if maybe something just broke off in there and it was just like such a clean snap that it came off like that perfect circle.
What if there's a parchment up in the jar somewhere that they haven't found?
That would be crazy.
Or what if
but whatever it
there's a
is,
necklace somewhere,
but whatever it is, we know for a fact that it's not an idol because when he goes to talk about it, 3 seconds into him talking about it, they show the idol emblem, which I love that Australian Survivor does that, and then a giant X pops in over it. Like, nope, this is not what you think it is.
I love
and
it.
the worst thing that could happen to Simon, because this is where he starts to go a little mad.
I know. I'm scared.
It honestly is the worst. But like, we'll jump back to where we were, and we can say why it led to bad decisions at Tribal.
Yeah, of course. So we have all this, and this kind of leads us to Mimi thinking, "Oh, I need to find it." And once again, we have Jordy being more the voice of reason here, being like, I wouldn't do that. I don't know if he actually believes that nothing's in there, but at least saying, I wouldn't be the one that goes through it. And once again, Mimi, if Jordy's being the voice of reason here, you might be on the wrong page.
Well, Jordy's I'm hopeful that he's actually taking a thing out of my playbook of like when I look at this stuff is, for me, I don't find advantages super powerful just because you have them. I think they're more powerful if you are aware of where they are. So I think Jordy has the mindset of like, well, it's eventually going to be found, most likely by someone that I'm aligned with. So I'm just going to keep tabs on it, tell everyone there's nothing there. Someone finds it, I'll know.
Yeah. And I was a little bit confused at first because when Mimi's going through it, you can see that it's Liz that catches her. And I didn't know, is like Liz her lookout, or is Mimi just that oblivious that she doesn't realize that someone's staring right at her?
It's
and as
black.
we learn as it goes out, that she just doesn't know.
What
he doesn't know. You can't see.
I was waiting for like a comedy moment. Like I was waiting because it's just how it was and how close it was. I thought she was literally just about to like turn around and be like, "Oh shit!" Like, hey there,
want a cookie?
Yeah, want a cookie?
I just got hungry.
I wanted to get to the bottom.
Like, she's Mimi. I don't even know why she did it because if you had have been caught, you're a target anyway. You know, you're gonna have to get rid of it. And B, I don't know. See, you guys have. I'm still back at the conversation of, has it fallen off the lid, or like that's going to piss me off because to me,
I really hope that they show us like very early the second week of episodes, like what that is and how it happened to fall in there.
Yeah.
Well, you can only imagine the interrogation that I've done to my dear Simon about this, and he's so tight-lipped it's not funny. But I'm a
tight-lipped as his tight ass that's holding it
in those budgies. I'm going to say he 100% thought it was, and is under the impression that it is going to be possibly, used and used well, or used badly. My theory is if it's legit and the producers have put it in there, and then he's gone and told Jordy, then Jordy changes his plan, and all of a sudden Simon gets going for, that's going to piss me off because that's so unfair. That it's used as a discipline. I don't want him to have any bad idol experiences.
If it's a production plan and the production is planning a fake idol, I think that's a little out of bounds. That's a little janky. I don't want to call out the Australian producers because I love the show and I think they do a tremendous job.
I love them.
But that's something where it goes hand in hand with Block for me in episode 1. I'm a big no there.
Yeah.
The only thing that I wonder is that will Jordy and Simon be able to keep it tight-lipped? Because if someone else finds out and they think that it's an idol, that's where I worry for Jordy.
That's the thing. I think it's going to fall for the crack.
Nice.
I know he works out and has a firm crack, but
wasn't that hilarious by Geordie? Was that not so funny when he goes,
"Oh
Jesus
my God,
Christ, it is there."
Like, wait, you have it? Where? Can I feel?
Yeah.
Not right now. I sort of want to.
I'll bet it was nice and smooth because of Manscaped Survivor. There you go. Got it.
We do that.
They haven't been out there that long. It's still freshly kept.
Cue the sponsor.
Yeah.
But they haven't gotten the shave reward yet.
No one's at the spa yet.
Hey, Australian Survivor actually does that reward. I love that they do.
Yeah.
But what? This should lead us now into the
immunity challenge. Yeah. So for this immunity challenge, you're carrying a ladder through a series of obstacles, up over a high wall, through a frame that you can either make into monkey bars or kind of use as a bridge. And then from that, you take it over a cargo net, retrieve some coconuts, and use those to smash the frames at the end.
So my question is, why did anyone go monkey bars? Did you have to do monkey bars? Did you have to like go through a couple times before
I don't know.
turn it to a frame? Because George and Shawnee were like, just fall, like just go touch it and fall. Because it felt like they were trying to like cycle through this so we can turn into a fucking bridge. Mimi, don't be a hero.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
Mimi's
thought
trying to keep going.
Yeah, I think like what you said, Chrissy, like how they give very clear instructions as they're setting it up. I feel the way that they approached it and how JLP talked about it during the challenge was you had to start it as monkey bars. And if you had people who literally just could not do the monkey bar portion.
10 falls, flip it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't do that. There are some people that can't do that. If you've got a shoulder injury, you're not getting across the monkey bar. I take my kids to the park most arvos. I tell you now, guys, it's hilarious. I'm going to film it. I'm going to film it for you all.
Please
I cannot take one hand off. I will. I'm going to send you it. I can't take one off. It slips and I'm out. So I reckon the ruling would have been, okay, 10 flops, you're allowed to flip it because that means that people simply can't do it.
Like I'm very hit or miss with them. Like I'm someone who I work out regularly, but like one of the things I've never been strong at is pull-ups. And monkey bars is literally just pull-ups where you're hanging and having to rotate. So for me, it's just like it just really depends on how far apart those rungs are. Because I think a lot of people could speed through it.
That's a heavy ass ladder. So I was watching it with my boys and they're like, Auntie, how heavy is it? How heavy? I'm like, ridiculously heavy hardwood. It's made to be heavy. So even it took 4 of them to maneuver that around, like that takes time. It's all very it's all planned.
Because we see like when they're doing with the cargo net, like Sean, who's been killing everything, him and I believe it was Webby, they were struggling to get it like propped up, like to bring it over, just because you can tell that thing's it's massive.
Yeah,
I know.
But ultimately, this was a challenge designed once again for the heroes to win. Because also, when you get to the last part of the challenge with the coconuts, like it's not like you're throwing a sandbag. Coconuts aren't light either, and the distance is pretty.
And you
far.
saw who was it? I think it was Paigey.
Yeah, she was trying. She was trying to chuck it.
She threw it
halfway, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like less. And I went, this is a strong girl who farms, like she rides cows and horses, I think. Yeah. They're heavy, and she's on her 50th throw. Come on,
And then you just have Sean who's literally treating it like you're doing you're throwing a sand
cornhole. Yeah.
He's like literally just playing cornhole. One hand just chucking them. So you just knew he was going to beat anyone over on the villain side before they even really had a chance to do it. I wish there were. Now that we're 3 episodes in, this is where it kind of dawned on me. Like, and when you said it, it's like, oh yeah, no, these are set up for the heroes to win because people generally want heroes to win. Like, I think we might be rooting for villains. I mean, I know we love
we are.
But I think our favorite players are the villains because we watch Survivor and that's what we want. But I think that there's like a lot of casual, just people that they want to watch the heroes win. Like they're pumped, so it gets people in because like even the puzzle was like, it's not really a like that's not like a puzzle. I mean, it is a puzzle, but it's just like a bunch of blocks and lines.
Building blocks.
Yeah, just building blocks. And even that's like a physical aspect of it. We know like George A's a little buff, but he's still not like he's not a challenge beast, you know, like
any challenge like this where it comes down to a hero role, nobody's beating Sean. Like Sean's going to win that challenge every single time.
Yes.
Right. Unless Stevie gets there, then it's all over.
I hope this is leading up to a time where there's a one-on-one challenge and Stevie and Sean, and it's like tilted towards Stevie and he wins one. I hope we're building up to this.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it's going to have to be tight sheet.
Yeah. Hold your hands like this for as long as you can.
I can go all day, Jeff.
So for the third time in a row, we have the heroes win. And until Shawnee said it, I had no idea that any tribe, like this is the first time that a tribe had lost the first 3 immunity challenges. Because that isn't like a crazy number where it was like 6, 7.
No. I was just saying, I feel like that happens in American Survivor like every other season.
Yeah, the last few seasons have been very mixed across the board. Yeah. But it's interesting, but I'm also just like, you're not surprised. Like, if you're a fan of the show and you know the people coming in, you look at the dynamics, it's just like, oh, they set up the heroes tribe to be a lot more physically strong and ready for these type of immunity challenges. Like, they may be winning the reward challenges that involve, like, it allows you to have more time for strategy. But, like, when it comes to just, like, okay, this is brute effort, teamwork, like, the heroes are going to win. Like, that's just end all be all. That's what's going to happen. So
they have Sean and they have Flick. And, like, let's not forget, Flick is, like, I mean, they have the whole meat tray. They have, like, 4 dudes. And, like, at least 2 of those dudes probably match with Simon on strength for stuff like this, you know? And, like,
like Flick is one of the strongest women to compete.
Yeah, she'll go up against. She would beat 3/4 of the men. Yeah,
and Paige. I mean, you know,
like, and then you can't count out people like Haley who are smaller but like very strong. Like they train, like they are in great shape.
Yeah, like if you were just looking at U.S. Survivor, like someone like Sam Webby, he would dominate a lot of these challenges, and he's 5th, 6th on the depth chart here.
Yeah, middle of the pack.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But we don't put former AFL athletes on U.S. Survivor.
No, we don't.
We get a couple NFL athletes.
We do get a couple former defensive linemen here and there.
For a year or 2. Yeah, we get Danny.
Of them, apparently.
Yeah.
So this takes us back to Villain Camp. You know, first we kind of see Stevie. He's ingratiating himself with Simon and Jordy. He realized, hey, that's where the numbers are.
Well, it's because you don't realize this. Stevie's the puppet master.
He's sneaky.
He's like, I have convinced Simon to do my bidding of getting Mimi out.
It was Stevie who planted the idol. Just knew that it would drive Simon crazy.
Oh my god! God! I hope it is. Oh my god! I hope. God, that's my greatest fan theory. God, I hope Stevie's like, I broke this off and I threw it in there.
Oh, it's like hilarious that
guys.
Like, Stevie, it would be hilarious.
Sweet revenge.
Sweet revenge on Mimi, because Mimi should have asked me how to be sneaky at camp. I wouldn't have been caught. Well, maybe I would have.
cut to Mimi going to bed and Stevie coming out and breaking off part of the jar and throwing it in there next week.
Oh, I would die.
Surely not. If we there's no way. It's too big.
No, that's too big. Stevie wouldn't. No, he wouldn't do that. It's that would be very funny.
This is where we get the sequence. Okay. Simon finds the idol. He's all giddy, and this is where he sees is George.
Yeah, and this is where I think this is what hurts his game, is seeing this. Because once you see that, not only does he see George, like Jordy explains it very well. It's like he has this vendetta against George. He also has a vendetta against idols because he went home with 2. And now he's like, I have this. It is obviously real because I found it, and it has a little emerald thing on it. I have to use it, and I have to use it right. Let's do it.
Pretend that it's a real idol. I don't understand at this point, why would the thought be, well, I'm going to use it at this point to save Stevie, and we can get George out when there's still, we're going to piss off 7, 8 other people in the tribe.
Well, I feel like
Right.
he doesn't believe at that point in time that he would actually be pissing off the whole tribe. Like he thinks, okay, he's like Shawnee and Liz may get angry about it, but I think we can recover there because I think they realize that they still need to work with me and Jordy.
You don't want to be on Fraser's bad side.
I took Stevie. I took more from this. I took more from this about Jordy, where it's like, oh, he's like really thinking about Tai Chi, put up your hands. Where he's like really thinking about this, like, no, we have to tell the girls we can't make these moves without them. Like Jordy's thinking about those other, that next little step.
Factors,
and Simon's Simon's just not thinking straight. Although I think
he's just so focused on not only, okay, let's slay the dragon, whatever, but also he knows in his head, if you let this guy stay, I understand George's theory. Don't think about next week, like just be in the moment. I'm
that helps George.
I went on. Georgie's got to go. He's going to start squirming in. I'm kind of with Simon, just maybe a little bit less. I'm just like.
The argument against George is that there's so many returning players that are also back in this season that like they all know George. So even if you're like, okay, we're keeping George around, keep George around, and you get the newbies, you get to the merge, and it's like there's going to be enough smart players eventually to get him out. There's going to be
get
enough,
him out. Okay.
Like you got to think about that with that many. If it was all new players and George was a new player, like back when he was.
But you're saying once we get over there, Haley, Nina, Shawnee, they're going to take George out.
Yeah, they're not going to. Once they get to the point where like we got to get this guy has to go now. Like it's not going to be an annoyance. Like this guy annoys us. We need to get him out. Like we thought when he first got to Survivor.
Yes, it's not that.
So.
I don't know if Jordy would have this thought. This may be more that Jesse would think of, because I know Jesse was the bigger fan when they played last season. But also, if you start to look at it, like our tribe's getting decimated. There's probably at some point they're not going to continue to let that happen. They're going to do something to shake it up. And at that point, maybe it becomes more valuable to keep someone like George around, because if you get swapped with him, like Jordy isn't like the largest name out there, but depending upon how it goes, you want to make sure that you end up on a tribe with a George, a Shawnee, something like that, so that you're not.
Yeah, that's good.
Jordy's also a recent name, recent name.
And this guy won a lot of immunities.
Yes.
Get rid of him. And when we did, he got another chance at redemption. Like this is someone who needs to not go under the radar as well. He's a serious threat.
Well, come on, Chrissy. We needed 7,000 more confessionals where he explained that he was the Joker.
Hey, we've gotten zero
what made
so
the season.
Well, no, we got one. We got one in the intro package, but
But he has been funny. See, I'm a massive fan of humor, and he's cracking me up.
No, I've been really impressed with Jordy through 3 episodes. I came in
3 episodes.
Well,
3
you
episodes.
barely don't like him because you have a new nickname because of him. So
that has more to do with fair play than it does with Jordy. But it's just
hey, you own it now. Stockade Kid gave you the graphic and everything.
At that point, you just have to steer into the curve.
But to hit the main beats here, originally we see George like, I want to keep Mimi. Mimi could be a number for me for my eventual uprising against the people that I'm deeming the leaders. Because like the thing that George also has done very successfully and like almost slighting at people is like constantly bashing over the head about how Simon's the leader. Like when Simon admits that they went into the extra vote, like George is looking at the Heroes tribe and just like eye rolling right back at Simon's like he's the reason why it happened. Simon's the leader, so I respect his decision making on anything that he makes here because I wasn't here, but he's the leader and I'll respect him. Like he's constantly putting it out there like Simon's the leader, Simon's the leader, Simon's the leader. But who's really the leader? It's not George either. It's Shawnee.
It's Shawnee.
Yeah.
The one thing is, Chrissy mentioned it earlier. We kind of skipped
at the
over.
moment.
We were talking about the immunity challenge. Was that he tells Haley, "Hey, found an idol. This is where it's at."
Yeah.
And I'm very hopeful that that's what we see as part of this episode coming up, where are we going to throw the challenge? Because like I'm hopeful that she goes, finds it, and is open to this because she's like, if I feel anything, I play my idol and we get someone else home. And that's what I'm teaching these people how to play this game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see George already affecting people in there, you know, and influencing even comments that they're saying. You can see people holding back. I don't know if it's because I know him personally, but I'm 3 episodes in, and you are seeing, you know, the impact he has on this game, whether it be the edit or not. Shawnee's up there though, isn't she?
Yeah.
Oof.
I love Shawnee. She's still sticking strong as my winner pick.
Oh, you love that. Love that.
Uh-huh.
So this will bring us, you know, the last little part. We go to tribal council. I do love that as soon as it starts, we see that Jordy has a bunch of cookies in the top of his overalls, and he's handing them out.
Hilarious. So distracted.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so awesome.
Yeah, JLP's like, are you guys taking this hard at all?
Nope. All right. First of all, I got to ask about this on Survivor Nutrition. Maybe Chrissy, I don't know if you would be able to speak to this. Like, it can't, like, first of all, are they biscuits or cookies in Australia?
Cookies.
They're
we
cookies.
call them cookies. Yeah, it's not a
Okay.
biscuit. A biscuit's like just, you know, like
Like a cracker.
sugary,
like a cracker.
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But this is a proper cookie.
Cookie. Okay. There's no nutritional value, right? So it's just sugar.
Just calories.
Yeah.
Full
Okay,
calories.
all right.
So you'd have the sugar surge, I can imagine, would be horrendous, because I ate a meat pie, and I don't even eat meat, and I didn't get off the toilet for about 4 hours. Like, you haven't eaten, your stomach's got a new system happening, and they are pigging out on them.
I mean, God, it's like it is like I have had a night with a bowl, and I'm like going down those cookies. It's so many cookies.
There's so many. So we were trying to work it out. It looked like, would you say like 200 or 300? And there's only 12 in the tribe.
Easy. Yeah.
And they got through half. I mean, they've had 20 cookies a piece, or 15 to 20 cookies a piece.
This is flour, sugar, and chocolate.
Yeah.
It's
a couple of eggs. They must have been violently ill.
Oh my God.
The other thing that we didn't mention, have to highlight it, is, you know, apparently we're really standing Stevie here or whatever, is he gives one of them to the heroes at the start of the challenge.
Oh yeah.
And then he goes like, well, you can split it 12 ways.
You can split it 12 ways.
Oh man, our love for him is growing at a rapid rate.
Who would have
Last
guessed?
week we said
Who
he
would
was
have
going to be the
guessed?
first boot, or like at least in the first week.
We did. We thought he was.
He's just so adorable.
Yeah.
A show that's villainous, and there's big, you know, people's hats are getting burnt. Like, this is just a nice little comedic relief.
So this is like a two-front battle here. We have Stevie and Mimi going at it with each other, and the main argument here is like loyalty and trust. Is it the same thing? Is it different? Which one should you value more? She and like the main thing here, Stevie's saying like trust is more important than loyalty, because like we all have to betray each other at some point, but for now it's like, it's what can we do to show that we trust each other, because trust is going to take us farther along, and like that makes sense. And Mimi's more just like, I want to be able to make my own decisions. Like, I don't want to have to just follow along with someone. So like, I feel like they're both sort of saying the same thing. It's like, I don't want to just be a loyal lapdog. Like, I'm going to have a mind for my own. But I think that's because of how she's able to articulate. I think that threatened some people into being like, because I think the vote was Stevie.
Yep.
And then
it was. It was.
So like the vote is Stevie, the whole tribal. Then you get the whole scene of Simon constantly going like, Jordy,
Do you want to make history tonight?
Can we do this? Will you be my other vote? And Jordy's like, you have to talk to the girl. Let me talk to the other girls. The girl, he's like, and I think he led it in a very good way to get the result that he wanted. So he goes to Shawnee and Liz, like, this is what Simon wants to do. If you guys say no, I can go back to him and say that it's
I can go back. Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's
No.
dumb. And he's like, come on. you know what, we can use it on Stevie. We can take him out with 2 votes. We got this. And then the Mimi thing happens, and Shawnee and Liz go to Jory like,
she's annoying.
yeah. It's Mimi.
Yeah.
We're gonna take her out. And I think there's also like the way of Shawnee and Liz to sort of like flex their power a little bit, see if they could actually do it. Because I think to them it's inconsequential which one went.
Right.
So that happens, and you even get to the point where Simon, who Mimi's not an ally, going like, "What if I use it on Mimi? Will you do it with me? Like, will you be the second vote?" And George's still like, "No, man, no."
Yeah,
Another no.
Yeah.
Mimi ends up going, but this is where we have all the cookie puns. We have Stevie saying you're one smart cookie. And then that's where you have JLP going. Sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles.
God, so good.
But what I love the most about this outro is we get the normal outro, and then the music stops. And Simon comes out, pulls out the hat. Is that George's hat? And he just throws it in the fire and goes, "I'll be back to finish the job." This
clued me in that he's trying to get TV time off of George's coattails. That's
maybe
that was the move that like confirmed for me. I was like, oh no, he's playing this up for TV.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't forget though, Georgie would have been. He's going to be so pissed, but he's going to respect it because this is the villain of all villains. Like, George now is in the sun, no sun protection. His face is hot and burning. George will pay that because he loves naughty shit, but he'll be pissed. Yeah.
And like he's gonna know, and like we see in the previews, like Simon, you're not fooling me. Like I know what you're up to.
Yeah.
But it's the old saying of it: if you come for the king, you better not miss. And I unfortunately, I think when the time comes, he's gonna miss.
The only way I'm rooting for Simon to go out currently is to play the idol to save somebody that everyone else is voting, so that his 2 votes go for George, and then it doesn't count.
So here's what I think.
My God.
I think could be also a likely scenario. I think there's going to be a round before a swap, or even a post swap, where everyone's going to be voting George. But like George and Shawnee or George and Liz, some combination of those 3 are still together, and they find out about it, and they're like, he has a fake idol. Or they don't even know. They're like, all they know is they have votes heading to George's way.
Yeah.
And we're just like, George, play your idol. We can't control this vote, but we can put our 3 votes on whoever you want.
Yeah.
We can send someone packing. George plays his idol. Then Simon goes to play his idol for himself.
Maybe.
Because he thinks, obviously, George is going to go for you.
Yeah.
So
I think it's coming from inside the house.
Geordie's uncoming.
That's the other mistake Simon made, is he told somebody about his idol. It's like, you're aligned with Geordie now, but like Geordie is a player in this game, and there's like, it's not like you have this like pre-existing, you're aligned for now. Like, you don't tell anybody about your idol until it saves your life.
Don't let people touch your butt.
Right? No.
Just say
Simon
no.
might have a plan. He might have a plan. He wants George to go tell everyone. I don't know.
He might. Simon's also a smart player too, so we'll see.
Smart player, guys.
And this is going to wrap up the first 3 episodes. Does anybody have any final thoughts before we sign off?
It was a great start to the season, and I can't wait to watch this next week.
Yes.
Well, perfect. So for those of us, you that are watching on YouTube, we appreciate it. Hit the like and subscribe button. That'll get you notified anytime that we go live. The best way to support the podcast is become a patron at realitypatron.com. Sign up for 1 month. Johnny's never held anyone hostage. You don't like it, he'll send you your money back. When you sign up to be a patron, you get access to the secret Facebook group. You get the Q&A. And if you're looking for the Australian Survivor links, we provide them out. They go out, the morning after the episode airs. We'll direct you right towards them. You won't have to worry about, trying to scour the internet to find them if you're not from in Australia. If you're listening on a podcast, rate us 5 stars. Come on.
Yes.
We have Chrissy here. Like Chrissy herself is worth the 5 stars.
Chrissy's always worth 5 stars.
It helps us with the randomly perfect.
Just go
algorithm.
in, put 5 stars, and say, "I love that Chrissy is on the podcast."
Yes.
And because if you don't know,
Getting you guys 1 star.
No.
No.
I'll get the 1 star.
If you because if you don't know, we'll have Chrissy joining us all season long. I know Fair Play isn't here this week. Don't worry, he will be back, and we're going to be continuing to come back once a week to cover the 3 episodes. So until next time, cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers. Yeah, bye.
And for more bonus content, go to realitypatron.com. That's right, become a patron now. Get additional coverage of all your favorite shows, the weekly Q&A, and you become a member of the secret, exclusive Facebook group. That's realitypatron.com.